Hello?
Hello, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm just really busy. Hold on. I just gotta stretch. Okay, what's going on? Hey, your camera on Discord looks really different than your camera on the stream. What happened
Yeah, I
to
fucked it up. Sorry, give me a second here.
it?
Where's the thing? Hello. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
Very good. Very well. I've been doing a lot of writing and reading. My next
Yeah.
project is on Antonio Gramsci. So
Oh,
you mean
very
it's
cool.
you can't read the entire prison notebooks in 2 days. It's like a 500 page
Mhm.
book. But Um, I don't know if you know who is it Sock Done Left? Soak Done Left?
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
he- he's kind of an idiot a lot of the time. I don't know if you agree with me.
Oh, I don't know enough about the stuff he talks about to really know. So,
Okay. Now
yeah.
he made some really stupid claims about Antonio Gramsci like a week ago, and I've been
Mhm.
putting off doing my video on the prison notebooks for about 6 months, mainly out of laziness. And I was like, you know what? It's kind of time to talk about it, I think, because
Mhm.
um you know who Gramsci is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. You know that a lot of rightoids on the internet tend to misquote him. Do you know about that?
I
There's,
don't know about that. No.
okay, so there's a very famous Gramsci quote floating around. It turns out it's actually not from Gramsci, and the entire right wing ecosystem is kind of built off this quote. However, even though Gramsci didn't say the quote, he said stuff in his writing that is enough like it that it's pretty much accurate.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna go over what he said, what Soaked on Left said was correct, and also and ultimately where he's wrong. So
Okay.
that's a
Cool.
big project that I'm working on right now,
Yeah. Sounds like it. Sounds like it.
and that'll
Well,
be that'll be out probably next week or so. Um,
very cool.
I mean, you've watched a few of my videos now. You notice that like some of them just have like the fat laughing dev background. Those are like
Yeah.
my less serious videos, and then the more serious ones are more edited, like the three forms of
Mhm.
fascism. This one's going to be a
Yeah.
more edited one. So,
That's cool. Yeah.
so
Your
that's what I'm doing.
your forms of fascism one was really good. So,
Yeah, I get a lot of compliments on it. Um,
yeah.
there are people who really didn't like it because they thought the idea of libertarian fascism is stupid. It is a stupid idea, but people do believe it. People believe a lot
Yeah.
in a lot of stupid ideas.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah,
Well,
let me post that I'm talking to you somewhere. Give me a second.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're here to talk about Gamergate, chat. Um,
Oh
Dev is
God.
gonna educate me on Gamergate. Now, I've
What?
already looked at some of the stuff around it. Oh my god, why do I have Nikocado Avocado's ass on my God, Jesus Christ. Um, I did some reading about it. So like I have the timeline of Gamergate, pulled up. I've been kind of going through that. But I guess yeah, you're gonna educate me on Gamergate. So
God, the ancient lore of Gamergate. It's been like
yeah,
10 fucking years.
yeah.
So,
This sorry,
no, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
So it all started with this Zoe Quinn, this post about Zoe Quinn, right?
Did you read the post? I think it's still up.
Yeah, I read some of it. I didn't read the entire thing. But basically her ex is accusing her of cheating, right?
Hmm.
Do you think that she actually cheated on him?
Oh, absolutely. The guys confirmed it. At least three out of the
Really?
five of them did. Yeah. Like that part
Hmm.
is not in dispute whatsoever. That she did cheat on him.
Wow.
Um,
Damn.
so one of them was Nathan Grayson. I'm just gonna pull his, see what he's doing now. God, this ancient lore, it's been so fucking long, dude.
Because what I was reading, I read a bunch of different things, but there were like allegations that this guy was like abusive or whatever, and that like I don't know how true that is, right?
Hmm.
Um, that he like made up a whole bunch of stuff about her. Um, so I guess I'm curious to know like I guess how was this confirmed that she cheated on him?
Uh, one of the guys, at least, of the five guys, there was the Five Guys burgers and fries meme. Like that was
Uh-huh.
part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the guys was Nathan Grayson, and Nathan Grayson said, "Yes, we had a sexual relationship during this time." Um,
Wow.
the issue ultimately wasn't the cheating. Actually, you know what? Here, before we get into it, you should give me your view of Gamergate, like what you've learned about it, what you think of it. You should hit me with the Stardust interpretation first.
I know very little about it. I'm going to be real with you. I know very little about it. I know that basically this post came out about Zoe Quinn. I know that it was less about the cheating and more about the incestuous relationship that game reporters have with each other and with game developers um and it was kind of like talking about the corruption, or not corruption, but like uh just the um I guess the weirdness of that industry. Um and I know that basically in response to this post being made about Zoe Quinn, a bunch of I think it was reporters spoke out against it. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
because they spoke out against it, um like the majority of like the gaming world didn't really care about the post initially, but because they spoke out against it, it drew more attention to it, and then
Hmm.
more of the gaming world um kind of caught on to it and it became a bigger thing. And then there were like some harassment campaigns that happened, and everything from that point on, I'm a little bit uh I'm a little bit yeah, I don't know a whole lot beyond that point. So,
Right. Right. So, you're already a far right fascist for even bringing up the ethics part of the conversation. By the way, I hope you know that.
okay. Okay.
You've
By the way,
you're
I'm sorry. Just one second. Wordsmith Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. Sorry, go ahead.
no problem. No problem. Um, the issue is that there's two competing narratives regarding Gamergate, and it's now 9 years ago, and most of the people who were pro Gamergate don't care anymore because it's been 9 fucking years, right?
Yeah.
Like it's old internet drama.
Yeah.
If you go to Wikipedia, you can see the anti-Gamergate description of events, and from their point of view, it's pretty accurate. If you go to Know Your Meme, you can see the pro Gamergate view of events. So if you want to get an overview of what both sides actually thought and like their versions of the timeline of events, both of those sources will give it to you. There's if you were around in like 2015 or 2016, you saw three things kind of conflated very heavily together in mainstream news, and that was Gamergate, Brexit, and Trump. That Gamergate caused Brexit, and then Brexit caused Trump. And it was
How would
all
Gamergate cause Brexit? That makes no sense to me.
I know, and it's it's some of the most ridiculous claims that I have seen. Are just how like okay here. You know who Mundane Matt is? His part of the Gamergate drama.
Uh, he made a video, right?
Yeah, he made one of the
Okay.
first videos talking about the Zoe post, and because
Okay.
he was one of the first ones, and he was the one that Zoe Quinn chose to falsely DMCA to get his video down, he blew up.
Wait. Who Zoe DMC claimed him?
Yes, Zoe Quinn
Okay.
falsely DMCA'd Mundane Matt to get his video on the Zoe post taken down.
Okay.
And that's what made Mundane Matt blow up. And that's what made a whole bunch of YouTubers suddenly leap all over this story back in 2014, because that was seen as like an egregious, censorship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and Mundane Matt has since come out and said now he's more progressive now than he was back then, and he's come out and he's said stuff like, "Hey, I'm sorry for my part, because I know that it led to the rise of reactionary politics. It led to Trump. It led to Brexit. It led to all of these things." And it's like, well, no, no, it didn't. But there is a narrative that it did, and I can explain that narrative. I don't really believe it, but I can explain it.
Okay.
The idea basically is that there. I don't know if you were around 10 or 15 years ago, but there's been like a slow turning leftward of a lot of online spaces. You know, the old atheism of the 2000s, where everyone's going around like just being intentionally edgy and tipping their fedoras everywhere. Those guys became like atheism plus, where it was all social justice focused. You know, there was like stuff happening in comics, there was stuff happening in all these kind of cultural spaces online, and then when it came, there was stuff happening in gaming too. There was this general hatred, and we're talking like 2010, 2012. There was this general hatred of games journalists by gamers at the time for being impartial. And probably the first brush of it was the Mass Effect 3 the Mass Effect 3 ending controversy. Do you remember that? Did you hear about that at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So what happened?
Let me just basically Mass Effect was like this big trilogy during the Xbox 360 times. And the ending was absolute shit, and gamers got really mad at the game developers and kind of blew up at them on Twitter. This is back in, again, like 2012 or something. And if you search here, let me just pull this up. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Like, if you search right now for Mass Effect 3 Gamergate, even though this happened 2 years before, you can find people saying that, oh, this was the beginning of the same sentiment that caused Gamergate. You know, these gamers wouldn't accept what game journalists were telling them, and what indie developers were telling them, and what, you know, mainstream developers were telling them. That they were just angry, and they were reactionary, and they were these. They didn't use incel, because that wasn't really a term back then, but they would have, because they used internet virgins, which you can't really say anymore because that's shaming somebody for their sexual past. That's now problematic. So, but it was the same kind of idea. And then there was already this like hatred between your average gamer who, you know, back then wasn't really popular. Games weren't popular. The people who played them are kind of like derided in their childhood, and they hated these game journalists. They already hated them, so it was already like primed for this sort of cultural. It's not a rebellion, but it's like a, you know, we're just gonna go against you because we fucking hate you. It's that sort of thing, right? They're already primed for that. And then when Gamergate happened, you had the two narratives, and the first one was that Zoe Quinn, who was this indie game developer, cheated on her boyfriend, and that wasn't so noteworthy, but she cheated on her boyfriend with 5 people who were notable in games journalism, and that led to some sort of like, it's not toxic. It's like some sort of like some sort of nepotism, some sort of like colluded relationship. Because earlier, Nathan Grayson, one of those guys that had slept with her, earlier in the year, he reported on a game jam that went south involving her, and JonTron was also there, and JonTron's spoken out about this as well, about like his experiences with the type of person that Zoe Quinn is. But basically, Zoe Quinn's behavior caused this game jam to go south, and the only like real official word of what happened there was Nathan Grayson's, and it's like, well, hold on, some guy lost like tens of thousands of dollars on this project, and the only person that you're giving the interpretation of events in the public sphere is the person that you've been having sex with secretly this whole time. Well, you know, that sounds like, and also like this guy who hosted this game jam, he got slandered to shit in the media, and he was thinking about like suing these people because his reputation was destroyed, and the guy who destroyed it didn't reveal that he had sex with the other person in the story who was like his opponent in the story. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know how actually, like, in terms of any sort of formal ethics, how unethical it was, but it certainly felt unethical, especially because they tried to hide it. That was the worst part, is that they tried to hide it. So there were these 5 people, and actually I was heavily involved in Gamergate when it happened. Gamergate was when my channel went from like 2,000 subs to about 15 or 30,000 subs over the course of like 4 months. So like I got my first big bump from then. You know, before Gamergate, I had done some anime reviews in like the that guy with the glasses channel awesome style. That didn't work out. Did some Let's Plays, that was going like okay. But I did some Gamergate videos, and that's when I started doing politics content. That's when I met Sargon. That's when I met like a bunch of like, you know, Arch Warhammer. That's when I met V. You know, a bunch of people that I hang around with now that I'm still friends with now. I met them through Gamergate initially. So the one interpretation of events is that she was sleeping with these 5 guys, and that led to some sort of incestuous relationship there, where the game journalist scene and the indie game scene, it was all kind of a big clique. It's a big club and you're not in it. And then you had people on the outside who were generally just regular gamers who were pissed about it. And then the other narrative is that it's a harassment campaign and that it's all about sexism, and that the only reason you're mad about Zoe Quinn sleeping with these guys is because you hate women's sexuality, you hate women, you're harassing these women, and so on and so forth. And there was definitely some harassment for sure. Like, I can't just sit here and say it was all sunshine and rainbows and everyone had like the most moral reason to be there. I definitely saw some harassment of random women, but I also saw a lot of good work done too in terms of uncovering the corruption of people. I spoke at one point to Zoe Quinn's ex. Is it Aaron? It's Aaron Joni or Goni or something. I can't remember his last name.
Yoni or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I spoke to him privately at one point. This was back in 2014, and he said, "Listen, they're trying to make it." This was like in the early weeks, like 2 weeks in, or like 1 week in, or something to the controversy. And he said, "Listen, they're trying to make it a sexism issue. They're probably going to succeed in making it a story about sexism because they have the institutional power. They have the outlets. They have when big, let's say something like CNN or Forbes or whoever, like these bigger outlets, when they report on like a small hobby like gaming or any other hobby, they go to the enthusiast press. So CNN will actually say, what is Kotaku saying? Even though Kotaku is a shit rag, they are the main enthusiast press. They will at least see what other journalists are saying in that smaller press when they report on something that makes it big. So Aaron basically said they're probably going to succeed in making it all about sexism. But what you need to do is ignore, like, there are people out there who are talking about how much of a slut Zoe is. That's not the issue here. The issue is that you need to look at what these people are actually doing. And my biggest contribution to Gamergate personally, and I, it was the. It sounds weird. It sounds weird to say. It sounds like I'm really blowing myself up here. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it sounds like it. Was basically ending Phil Fish's career, and and that event had nothing to do with sexism whatsoever. There weren't even any women involved in that event.
Yeah.
Basically what happened, what I did, this was my big contribution. Like, other people did other things, Internet Aristocrat, Mr. Medica, he was digging up stuff, Sargon was digging up stuff. What me and my friends dug up was that early in Gamergate, somebody at Phil Fish's company, Polytron, leaked their financial documents to 4chan. All their internal financial documents. It's probably very illegal to actually have a copy of these because they're considered classified. But I got a copy of them. And there was 3 of us on the channel at the time, and we kind of sat down and we looked through them, and we discovered in the financial documents that a bunch of people who had invested in Polytron, so they had some people put up like $5,000, some people put up $10,000, $20,000, people put up these chunks of money to own parts of Polytron. These same people, they were also judges at the Independent Games Festival, and they were judges when the Polytron's only game, Fez, won awards during 2 different years. The whole idea of the IGF, the rules are basically, listen, you put forward a game for awards, you can win, Game of the Year, you can win Best Sound Design, Best Control, Best Graphics, whatever. You have all the awards, right? But you can only put forward a game once. You put it forward when the game launches, and Fez launched in 2012. But it won Best Sound Design in 2008. And it won a few other awards in 2008 as well. And then it won Game of the Year in 2012. Back in 2012, they said, listen, it's completely fine that it won 2 sets of awards because we consider Fez's demo to be a different game than Fez itself. That was the only game that the IGF ever did that for. No one ever understood why. But then we realized 2 years later during Gamergate, after we got a hold of the financial documents, that the judges, the people at the IGF, were the same people who invested in the company that put out Fez. And so they stood to profit from increased valuation of the company.
Yeah.
So I put this into a video. We edited it together. We put it out. The video goes fucking gangbusters. It got like 500,000 views in like 30 minutes or something. Like, it was going wild. And then Phil Fish sent me a cease and desist. And he said, you need to fucking take this video down right now or else I'm going to sue you. And I was 9 years younger, just out of
Yeah.
university, had no backbone, no fucking clue if YouTube would work out or not. I had no money, no nothing, so I took it down.
Yeah.
I put it back up a few months later, and it's still up on my channel. You can go back and watch it. All the evidence is in the video. But the fact that it was up for like an hour and then it went down, and then like mirrors of it started popping up, and it started going
Mhm.
viral on Twitter, and everyone was talking about this big revelation of Phil Fish. The next day, and this is still in the archives of their site too, because I actually made a short video describing what happened with me and Phil Fish, just to kind of update my new viewers on the old lore.
Yeah.
On the IGF's website, you can see. So they're like, so you might have seen recently some weird allegations, but we've investigated ourselves and discovered that we did nothing wrong. It was one of those like very
Mm.
boilerplate statements, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no one fucking trusted these guys anymore. Since then, no one's really cared about what the IGF has done. They've been like in a slow decline, and Phil Fish hasn't released a game since Gamergate.
Wow.
He just left the internet. He left the internet. He left indie gaming. He left all of it, and now I'm 135,000 subs, which isn't small, but it's not big. But it's big enough that some people know who I am, and I've
Yeah.
basically heard from people who are games journalists who watch me, who are game developers who watch me. There are people who have like messaged me and said, "Listen, you can't reveal who I am. I'll lose my job, but just so you know, no one wants to work with Phil Fish anymore, and that's why he's gone."
Wow.
And I've heard that from like about 5 different people now, that he's just he I basically nuked his career.
Holy shit. How does that feel to
it
nuke
feels
somebody's career?
it feels pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
like no one likes the whole cancel culture thing, but like
Yeah.
this was actual corruption. This was not like, oh,
Yeah.
you have a mean tweet where you said the N word 10 years ago, so we're gonna get you fired from your wagey job. But that wasn't that. This is
Mhm.
something different. You know, this is somebody who actually behaved inappropriately. And the thing is, none of this story has anything to do with sexism or harassment whatsoever.
Mhm.
Um, so they're definitely, if there is a side to Gamergate that wasn't about that, at the very least it was me. I can personally confirm that I wasn't
Yeah.
part of that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I don't think Sargon was either. From all that I know of him, he doesn't seem like the type. Um, however, like in just to prepare for this, I went back and watched a bit of my old videos. Oh god, they're so hard to watch. Man, like the shittiest mic, the shittiest audio quality. It was 2014. I had no fucking clue,
Mhm.
you know. But I went back and watched some of them. And even like in my second Gamergate video, I was like, listen, I have seen some harassment. You guys got to cut this shit out, all right? We're trying to discover that these people are actually really fucking corrupt. You got to cut this out. So even back then, I was a bit of a don't harass people kind of cuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's what I did. That's what I did
Yeah.
personally. But in terms of Gamergate as a whole, um, man, there's so much like old lore. I was talking to Chud Logic about this in private a few
Mhm.
days ago. He wanted to try and arrange a conversation between me and Brianna Wu, because she was very like anti Gamergate, like one of the most vocal
Yeah.
anti Gamergate people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you can do that, Chud, but I have old evidence from back in the day that Brianna Wu faked her own harassment. I've been sitting on it for 9 fucking years, Chud. We can do this if you want, but it's not going to end well for her.
Wow. Yeah.
Let's see if I can dig it up for you if you want to see it. Hold on. Let me go
Yeah.
into the Chud DMs real quick. And so I don't know if that conversation is going to happen or not.
Yeah. Holy moly.
Let's see here. I'm going to scroll up. Chud and I talk a fair amount, so it's kind of deep in the DMs now.
Yeah. Um, and it seems like the reputation of these game gaming like journalism, sites and platforms or whatever, haven't really improved. Like for the most part, everybody still thinks that Kotaku is, shit. Everybody still thinks that. It just seems like it seems like for the most part, people still don't trust these like reporters.
Yeah, well, the issue is they never like came out and apologized. I
Yeah.
remember Medicare saying like a week or two in that if they just said, "Listen, yeah, we fucked up. We're sorry. We won't do it again," I think everyone would have forgiven them. But they still haven't. They said it's about sexism. It's only about sexism. If you imply that it's about anything other than sexism, you're a sexist.
Mm.
So like because that was there was just this this hegemonic um circling of the wagons where it's like this was the narrative. If you disagreed, you were a sexist, and then 2 years later it became racist, and 2 years later it became fascist. This is kind of where that
Mhm.
whole radicalization of the Overton window started. Was I think that's what started was with Gamergate. I don't think that like Gamergate caused Trump or Brexit. I think that Gamergate started a slow media radicalization that contributed to those two events later, and is now
Yeah, I
why
mean,
we're living in like a media hellscape where people are getting
yeah.
canceled over 10-year-old tweets and fucking like everything is the most possible woke and it's just ridiculous, you know?
Well, it makes sense that also that's the start of when people stop trusting, like, media, right? They stop
Hmm.
trusting media, they stop trusting mainstream media, and for a good reason. And we can still see people are very skeptical of mainstream media today.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think it very much is related. Yeah.
Okay, regarding Brianna Wu, check this out. You can This is not something that's been doctored. You can find this all over the internet. This is old deep lore. Here, I just DM'd it to you.
Mhm.
So pull that up and let me know what it looks like to you.
It looks like a tweet.
Yep.
Uh, and chat can't see this.
Oh, chat can't
And
see it?
should I show it to chat? Do you want
Yeah,
me to
sure.
show it
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
chat?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Let me share it. Okay. It says, and here's the part of the night where I call the police.
Hmm.
And it's like a quote tweet of Death to Brianna. I've got a K bar and I'm coming to your house so I can shove it up your ugly feminist cunt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look at the when that other tweet was posted.
So this was 19 seconds.
19 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
So what are the chances that Brianna Wu saw this in 19 seconds and then tweeted about
I don't know.
it?
what are the odds?
It seems a bit more likely that maybe this might be her sock account. Because to find a tweet in seconds was unheard of back in 2014. It took
Yeah,
several
and
minutes
she
to
must
push
have
those
been
out.
getting yeah, and she must have been getting a lot of must have been getting a lot of notifications as well back then,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even that is let's see, that's a bit less that's a bit less ironclad because maybe she did actually see it in 19 seconds. Who knows, right? Who knows?
Mhm.
But notice in that tweet, that's her old name, Space Cat Gal. That was like the name of her game company back before
Yeah.
when she was making games. Um,
Yeah.
okay, this is also old lore, not doctored. Many people can confirm this. This one is a picture of the discussions page on her game on Steam, where she accidentally posts harassment to herself under her own name, forgetting to log out and log into
Oh
her sock account.
no. It's GSX head of development and noted feminist Brianna Wu, a terrible person. 8chan, Gamergate, and Kotaku in action. Knock yourselves out. And okay, so she's the poster.
Yeah,
Yeah, oof, that's like very cringe. That's a cringe moment for sure. What
yeah.
did she have to say about it?
She has never once talked about this in public. She has always ignored it when
Wow.
it comes up.
Wow.
I don't think anyone's like talked to her about it in a panel or anything, or in an interview. And whenever someone like messages her on Twitter, she just ignores it. She just doesn't reply. This is something that she has just tried to bury.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It reminds me of oh, who was it? Was it Stefan Molyneux who did it? Where he replies to his own video in somewhere where he's like, "I'm actually like a black woman," and I remember that.
Mhm.
Fuck,
Yeah,
that was
black gay
ridiculous.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, fuck. It's exactly
Yeah.
like that, and it's like, man, guys, how is
Yeah.
it that you're like, if you're so desperate, like, how could you, the narrative is that these people are being harassed so much. Why do you have to fake it if you're being harassed that much?
Yeah. Somebody in chat says, Star, could it not just be that she was trying to get feedback on herself? I mean, yeah, if we wanted to be like super, if we wanted to be the most charitable possible, maybe. But then why wouldn't she just say that, I guess? Why wouldn't she just address it and say that much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really want to steel man it, it does maybe read like she's like self-flagellating here, but I
Yeah.
don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that
Okay.
she wouldn't talk about it later, yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, yeah, it's easy to just be like, yeah, I was looking for feedback on myself, or I was feeling, a certain type of way or something like that. Wow.
Yep, I was in a depressive spiral or something, but nope,
Mhm.
she just ignores it, and she has for 9 years now. So,
Yeah.
um,
Um,
so yeah, that's the Brianna Wu stuff. Shit, there's something else I wanted to bring up. What were we talking about right before Brianna Wu? Do you remember?
we were talking about how you ended
Phil Fish's career.
Phil's, yeah, Phil Fish's career, yeah.
I mean, I put up like a TikTok. It's like 2 minutes long that kind of describes the whole thing. But you mean you already heard me describe it. It just shows a few screenshots of what happened. It's not a big deal.
Hmm.
Um, shit. Oh, yes. Do you remember the gamers are dead part of it?
I don't.
Okay, let me just here. I'm going to the Know Your Meme page here. I'll link this to you just so you could read it later if you like, because
Mhm.
the Know Your Meme page and the Wikipedia page are good for the two sides.
Okay.
Let's see. Hold on, let me just Control F it. Oops. Oh, it's not here. It doesn't matter. This is another one of those images you can just find just by searching "gamers are dead." It's Yep, here it is. Oh, come on. Why is it like 300 pixels wide? Guys, give me the original. Hold on. Hold on just a second. Okay. Yeah. So this happened about 1 week after the Zoe post dropped. Okay.
Uh,
Here, I'm gonna give you this image here.
okay.
So this happened about 1 week after the Zoe post dropped, and there was this huge, consumer backlash.
Hmm.
All of these gaming sites put forward articles saying gamers are dead, gamers are over. It's the end of the gamer. Gaming is leaving gamers behind. The identity of gamer is done, is gone. That's it. All right. And they all came out like within an hour of each other.
Yeah.
And so Total Biscuit, who I think he was still alive at the time. He didn't die till I think 2017, right? Total Biscuit.
Mm.
He said he famously said on Twitter, "I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this level of coordination or collaboration." And all of these articles talked about how Anita Sarkeesian was getting harassment due to this, how Brianna Wu was getting harassment due to this, how the path forward for progress in the games industry was for journalists and independent game developers to no longer consider gamers to be their audience.
Mm.
And to say you have a group of people who are, they're pretty socially not that well adjusted. They're kind of maligned. They're kind of nerdy, and and the only thing they really have as in terms of a collective identity is gamer. As as incel-y as that sounds, when you have the enthusiast press attacking them like this, it doesn't go over well. This got a lot of people angry. People were very, very angry when this happened. um,
Yeah. Yeah, it looks sus. It just looks I mean, not even sus. It just looks like, conclusive that all of these people are coordinated, essentially. So there's no doubt about it.
yeah, yeah. And then it came out 3 or 4 months later. There was a game journalist named Billy D who ran a
Mhm.
website called One Angry Gamer. He was
Mhm.
part of a Google group called Game Journal Pros, where it
Mhm.
turned out that they were all in there discussing what articles to publish, what political opinions were safe to put forward, what you should publish on your website, what you shouldn't publish on your website, and they were all colluding it. Um, Billy D gave the information to Milo. Milo published it
Mhm.
on Breitbart, and that was Milo's big his first big breakaway. He took off because of publishing Billy D's leak.
Really? So
Yep.
Milo was even involved in Gamergate.
Yes, Milo was. No one had heard of Milo before Gamergate.
Yeah.
Milo was where he blew
Wow.
up. Sorry, Gamergate was where Milo blew up.
Okay. Wow.
Let me just
Um
There you go. I'm gonna try to find the Game Journal Pros. Da 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 da. I mean, oh, there's like a bunch of articles describing it and like who was on it. If you search for the name Game Journal Pros, you'll find it. But like, there's a bunch of articles of describing what happened. Yeah, I can post you an article, I guess, but like, a lot of this is just reading old lore.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was being said and how things were being colluded in Game Journal Pros was leaked. Milo was the one who leaked it. That basically made Milo's career. That's how he got started, and then he moved on to he moved on to bigger things in 2015 with Brexit and 2016 with Trump. But he got started doing Gamergate stuff.
Wow.
Someone in your chat says, as much as Gamergate went off the rails, this aspect is indisputable. They instigated a reaction and then cited the reaction to justify the instigation. Yeah, that sounds pretty similar to what happened. That like a lot of the gamers like just blew up, and a lot of them went overboard during Gamergate. But they went overboard because of the consistent terrible behavior of all of these people. And then after they went overboard, that's what they used to justify their behavior. They said, "Oh well, we don't need to. Gamers don't actually need to be our audience anymore because look at how they blow up when we insult them." And it's like, well, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing it here now in the timeline. So yeah, the timeline in this time, I'll link the timeline, but
sure.
And you can tell me how accurate this timeline is. But this is where it was. So
Rational Wiki. That they're also slanted, but that's fine. Everyone has their slanted. Slant.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're like hyper feminist actually.
Oh, for real. Yeah. Yep. I was looking at it because it's like the most comprehensive timeline I could find. But if there's a better one around, I'm
Know Your Memes page is pretty good on it too, but it's from a completely different political point of view. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here. I'm just gonna quickly skim it.
So yeah, I see this.
Right, Mundane Matt publishes the Zoe post on August 16th. Yep. Yeah, there's deep lore of all these people involved. Man, like so there's somebody that Zoe Quinn drove to suicide, completely unrelated to Gamergate. Like all of these people have a history that can serve as its own video, independent from what they've done with Gamergate.
Yeah, somebody in chat was mentioning that. Alec Holoka?
Yeah, did he make Night in the Woods? Huh. Yeah, Alec Holoka, Canadian game developer.
Yeah.
Killed himself.
Night in the Woods.
Yeah.
Wow.
He killed himself October 2019.
And how did that happen? Like, why do people say that she contributed to that?
Basically, Zoe made false rape allegations against him and destroyed his career. And he was already like prone to depressive bouts. I haven't looked at that story in a long time. I have to go back and actually look at that one because it wasn't related to Gamergate. It was like its own thing. There was a lot of like weird deep lore. Like if the precursor to Kiwi Farms that existed back then, because this was before Kiwi Farms, I think. They were digging around like Zoe Quinn's family and they found her original name because that's not her original name. They discovered that like, her father comes from like old European money, and like her boyfriend at the time was this guy who was the son of like an arms dealer. There was a bunch of weird shit that people found, and it was all really interesting and kind of fun and exciting to be like, oh my God, we're discovering the secrets of these people who of these hipsters who they're almost like discovering like secrets of the upper class. You know what I mean? Of like these people who have a lot of money, they're traveling around, they're going to different countries, they're going to all these events. There's an excitement part to it where you're like uncovering these weird secrets. Like, why is it that this hyper socialist guy, he comes from old money and his dad's selling weapons to Israel? Like, holy shit. Stories like that kept coming about everyone. But that was all like fun side stuff. that contributed to the character of these people, but the actual Gamergate conversation itself was the game journalists and the
Mhm.
independent developers who collaborate,
Mhm.
who agree to set narratives where money's changing hands sometimes. And then on the flip side, it was the harassment that these people received. Some of it legitimate, some of it illegitimate. Some of it deserved. I mean, not legitimate. You know what I mean. Deserved because they had behaved poorly. Some of it not deserved because they were just people were just going crazy.
Yeah. So
Let me go back to
wait,
that
how
timeline. I
did
want to see.
how did Brianna Wu like contribute to stuff? Because when I looked at this Holoka,
Hmm.
it says he was accused of physical and emotional abuse by Zoe Quinn.
Hmm.
Um, what did you mention Brianna Wu in relation to that, or
No,
um?
no, she's unrelated
Oh,
to the Alec Holowka
okay,
story.
okay.
No.
Uh,
Anita Sarkeesian and Brianna Wu both inserted themselves into Gamergate. The Zoe
mm,
post didn't mention them. The Zoe post
mhm,
mentioned Zoe Quinn and the five guys. The, basically, it. Anita Sarkeesian was already she was already kind of hated for the Feminist Frequency series. That had been going since 2010 or something, or
yeah,
2011. Um, and it's my personal opinion that Anita Sarkeesian and Brianna Wu both inserted themselves into Gamergate and said, "Hey, we're women too. We're also facing harassment too, guys," because it was a way to bolster their career. It was the same thing that Milo did. They all found opportunities to make the kind of bump up their profile, make a name for themselves, grow their brand. They saw a this rather organic a cultural event happening on the internet, and everyone jumped in to try and basically pump themselves up. And that's the only reason that Brianna Wu was involved in it. She wasn't involved in any of the actual events.
mm, okay. I'm trying to look for the timeline that you said there's a timeline on Know Your Meme. Oh, let me
Here, I'll
see here.
post
I
it.
think I found it. Yeah, I
Here,
think I
here it
found it.
is.
What do you think is the most like unbiased one? Um,
Um, good luck. 10 years on,
yeah,
everyone's kind of set in their ways regarding a narrative. Good luck. If you
yeah,
if you search Gamergate right now, here. I'm just gonna see if this is true. Okay, I'm gonna go over to Twitter. I'm gonna search Gamergate. All right. What are the latest tweets that say the word Gamergate aside from yours and mine because we just tweeted about
yeah.
it, right?
I don't
um,
know. People accusing people of being fascists or something.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like, man, what was it? Hassan recently said that because the developer of the Atomic Heart video game didn't have any left-leaning woke people, social justicey people on the development team, and it was all like a bunch of kind of nerdy guys. Hassan said this was a Gamergate developer, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Is that what
Yeah.
Gamergate is now? Here, let's see if I can find that one. Oh, dude, Hassan's hilarious. He's like the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to terrible takes.
Yeah. Certainly is. Yeah. I can't believe like the amount of terrible takes that one person can have.
Let's see here.
What do you think about this? So when I was looking through the Rational Wiki,
Hmm.
it said that somewhere in it it says that the Zoe Quinn post was debunked by
Was it? Let's see.
um Gioni himself. Um
Uh, let's see. I'm doing the Control F for debunked and see what we get. Let's see. According to IRC logs, the Zoe post was later edited by Aaron. The original accusations were later debunked by himself. Let's see what this debunking is. Zoe Quinn. Aaron clarifies the Zoe Quinn Nathan Grayson timeline. Let's see what the debunking is. I'm going to read this. Uh, okay, I know what this is. I know what this is.
okay.
Okay. I think it was either Mundane Matt or Internet Aristocrat. It was one of the two, and I think it might be Mundane Matt. That made the claim that Zoe Quinn got favorable coverage of her game Depression Quest because of the fact that she was sleeping with Nathan Grayson, and Nathan Grayson never reviewed the game Depression Quest, so that's true. That was something that was floating around that I remember seeing repeated a lot during Gamergate, but it wasn't true. That part was actually false. What was true was not the review of Depression Quest that never existed. What was actually true was the coverage of the Game Jam. The Game Jam coverage was the actual thing that Nathan Grayson reported on after he had slept with Zoe Quinn, and Zoe Quinn was one of the principals in the story, and he had every reason to basically make the story look good for Zoe, because Zoe faced potential legal action if it looked like she had intentionally tanked the Game Jam, because she had her own Game Jam coming up soon, which she did.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what a Game Jam is?
I don't know what a Game Jam is now.
Okay, a Game Jam is a tournament where you get together a bunch of people and you sit them down in a room for like 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever, and you say, make a game. Make a game really quick, all right? And it's like televised, and it's
okay.
like
Yes. Yeah, I do know what this is. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Zoe Quinn was invited to one, and she had her own competing one lined up.
Yeah.
And there's reports that she intentionally tanked the one she was inviting on to get more eyes on hers. And the only person who reported on the event was the guy she was fucking. That's where the collusion is. It has nothing to do with reviewing Zoe's games.
So how did she intentionally tank the Game Jam, the competing one?
I'd have to go back and see. That's some deep lore. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that she somehow intentionally tanked it, and I had a chance to hold on. Fuck it. I had a fuck it. I had a chance to ask JonTron at one point, who was part of the Game Jam, like, did she actually intentionally tank it? And he was like, yeah, and he confirmed it to me personally.
Wow.
So I tend to believe it. But in terms of how she tanked the Game Jam, I have to go look that up. It was the centerpiece of one of Internet Aristocrat's old videos, but I can't remember the details. Okay.
I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
There's just so much. There's so much deep lore in this that, like, I feel like, I'm doing this interview with Brianna in a few days.
Show her the proof, Stardust. Burn the bridge.
We'll see. I'm gonna try and approach it as unbiased as possible, right? But obviously, if there are things here that I can ask her about, definitely I'm gonna ask her about them. So yeah, there's just so much stuff that is going on in this timeline that, like, I feel like I could study this for like a year and still not understand the entirety of the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim's old videos were pretty good. Sargon's old videos are pretty good. My old videos are pretty good, but the quality on them fucking sucks. Okay, here we go. I think I found it. Oh god, yeah, that's right. Phil Fish's Twitter rant. I'm so glad he's gone. Just give me a second here. Let's see. Jam. Oh, that's right. The Fine Young Capitalists. Do you remember? Did you hear about them? That was part of the story.
I know that it's in the timeline. The fine young capitalists are in the timeline.
Here's they were the ones that I think that they tanked the Game Jam of. This was their story that they posted on Reddit.
Let me pull that one up now. Oh, I see it here. And okay. Right.
Oh yeah, someone in your chat just said that the fine young capitalists are completely gone. Oh yeah, they've been gone for like 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah.
They just left because fuck.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to read this to the chat. It says,
Sure, go ahead.
"She fucking doxed me, ruined a production for women, refused to contact us, and is currently taking money for a game jam with no start date, no location, and no judges." Okay, here is my story. We ran a group that literally said, any woman come up with an idea for a video game, we'll give you concept art so you can pitch your game, and we'll put all the pitches online. The internet will vote. The internet will vote on the best one, and will make that game and give the profits to charity. If you get a lot of interest online and want to make the game on your own, you can leave the contest at any time. Literally everyone that was in the top 5 didn't have programming experience, so they couldn't make their game on their own. She was like, "Why do you expect women to work for free and make games?" We said, "Well, they get 8% of the money as royalties, and they just have to give an idea. Other people will make the game, and the profits go to charity." Doesn't matter, it's oppressive. She started a fucking Twitter storm, crashed our website, got my personal information doxed, got us banned from Twitter. We email reporter what's up, and they're like, if Zoe says it's oppressive, it must be true. Maybe you should give her money for Rebel Jam, which has no start date, location, or any other information, but totally isn't a scam. This happens at three major online publications. We literally said we'd pay her to consult on future projects, and we'd close down the contest if she would explain to us what is exactly offensive. No response at all, unless a reporter contacted her, and then she's the victim. All this information is fucking online. The pitches are online. We did everything we said, but no online journalist will publish the story. Please vote. Even if we don't raise enough money, if show there's enough of a interest, we can get the winner a grant to make their game. I am literally making no money on this contest. I just wanted to focus on something other than women being oppressed. I wanted to show that they made good games, and everyone said that's not what women in games want to talk about. So I guess that's their perspective regarding the game jam.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing, let me see here. I remember seeing Fine Young Capitalist. And now the Rational Wiki, and I know you said this is like super slanted.
Mhm.
It says here, Matthew Rappert claims on Reddit that Zoe Quinn sabotaged their game jam and doxed him without providing any proof. The claims he made under his username by Silly Slater were deleted and/or edited later on. His accusation seems to be based on a conversation with Zoe Quinn from March, compiled by Metroid Composite, that was apparently settled in private. Um,
I'm going to
Fine
pull that
Young
up too and take a look.
Capitalists. Yeah, and then on August 29th, Fine Young Capitalists backpedal on their claims.
Let's see.
I'm just trying to be as thorough as possible.
Nope,
Sorry.
makes sense. I'm also, this is all also like old lore for me too, so I have to like look at it to jog my memory. I'm pretty sure when it's kind of strange. This is from an era before the trans stuff was like really center stage in the left. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the feminism of this era was kind of anti-trans, you know. They
Mm-hmm.
they still held the opinion that like trans women were male infiltrators that wanted to destroy feminism and stuff like that. The trans
Mm-hmm.
stuff didn't really come about till like 2017. So I think I think they dead name the main person involved in Fine Young Capitalists on this website,
Hmm.
because yeah, it says Matthew Rappard, and I'm
Oh
pretty sure
shit.
I'm pretty
My
sure that's a
bad.
girl. Well, no, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't give a shit, but like it's just been up. It's been up for so long, and this is obviously like an old timeline. So like people haven't edited this in years, and back then dead naming was not a big deal, right? No one cared.
Yeah.
It's just strange to see how like things have changed. Um, okay, let's see. The poll board gets behind funding the Fine Young Capitalist crowdfunding campaign. They call it Operation Chemo. The crowdfunding campaign of the Fighting Capitals gets closed. They blame it on Zoe Quinn without providing any proof. Okay. Well, it looks like on that image, if that's a true email, the Indiegogo team is saying they're doing this for Zoe. So this is back when Indiegogo was like a small company, so they could like send out impersonal emails like this. Let's see. I'm trying to find what you're talking about.
Yeah,
The
it
Fine
says
Young
August
Capitalist.
29th. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
backpedal on their claims.
Yeah, backpedal on their claim that Zoe Quinn doxed or hacked them. So that's
And I'm trying to read this, but
lots of the links are broken and stuff in these old things, eh?
yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
Oh, fucking Lego butts. Oh my god. I'm just like getting brainwaves, man.
Oh, here it is. Zoe Quinn didn't understand this project. She decided to send some followers our way. One of them doxed me. One of them sent a death threat. Tons of them called me transphobic, and the majority of said the project was exploitative. It costed me money, a friend, and a sponsor. She fucked up. Um, I've been treated worse. I rarely think about it anymore. My greatest sin seems to be not pretending it didn't happen. It
Where
happened. She didn't know what she was doing.
is that exactly? I'm trying to
It's
find these pictures.
yeah.
None of the
Oh,
links are
it's not a
working.
picture. The
Okay.
backpedal on their claims link works.
Mhm.
And so it's from that. It happened. She didn't know what she was doing. Apparently, she's not an omniscient god sent from heaven to purge the earth from heathen gamers. She's just some woman that wants to get people to make games. We wrote the statement slash peace treaty with her specifically so that she could go to PAX and point to it if anyone asked how we felt about her. So they're saying that
um,
she directed followers our way, and one of them doxed me, but she herself didn't dox me.
I still
I
can't
guess.
find that. So on August 29th, it says the Fine Young Capitalists backpedal on their claims that Zoe Quinn doxed or hacked them. When I go to that site, it takes me to. Oh, hold
A
on.
Tumblr?
Oh, right. No. I was looking at a different page. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Fine Young Capitalists are apologizing for getting punched in the face. Right. Okay. I remember this now. Yeah. I remember this now. So, yep, Zoe Quinn showed up and apologized to them, and they kind of
Mhm.
patched things up because this is like this is during while it was blowing up, but it hadn't gotten to its peak yet. And I think the Fine Young Capitalists, like, they weren't in this for a culture war. They just wanted to do their project, right? Like, they didn't.
Mhm.
So Zoe Quinn was going to come to them and apologize to them and say, "Listen, it's not my fault." They were going to accept the apology.
Mhm.
I remember Zoe Quinn doing this a lot. She was like running around in people's DMs trying to put out like every single fire that she could.
Mhm.
Lots of like, "Oh, it wasn't really me. Oh, it was somebody else. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't direct this harassment. I didn't." And it's like, okay, sometimes your fans just kind of do what they're gonna do without your input. I've experienced that. I'm sure
Mhm.
like Sargon's experienced that. I'm sure Destiny's experienced that. Like sometimes it just happens, right? So
Yeah.
that's definitely a reasonable excuse. Um, but like considering her behavior before and after Gamergate, where like there's like been like a pattern of behavior from her. I don't think that like she doxed anyone, but I also don't think that she actually cared if one of her followers doxed someone. I don't believe
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
personally. Just because like as Gamergate went on, we looked into like the drama from that she got into before Gamergate. There's drama that she's been in since Gamergate, and there's been like a consistent pattern of behavior with this woman where it's been like, I'm not gonna do anything about anything, but it you know how like sometimes people will just like post someone's name and address without an actual like threat of violence attached, but
Mhm.
they're kind of like hoping someone's gonna do something ridiculous. This is like
Yeah.
what Zoe Quinn is like an online variant of that, where she'll like she'll go right up to the edge of actually saying something wrong, and then do that
Mhm.
consistently. So,
Um. So, what drama was she involved in before Gamergate? Do you know?
oh god, there was something about her. She moved to Toronto to avoid some sort of like a divorce settlement or something because she was married and she actually like
Mm,
fled to Canada for a year or two. But I don't remember
okay.
the full details. And then like basically once the legal troubles kind of died down, she moved back to the States. Um, she just
Interesting.
has like a history of these really toxic personal relationships where she's using people. Um, Aaron's only like one of many.
Yeah. Yeah.
This maybe I can look this up. Let's see. Zoe. Jesus. Is this it? Yeah, here we go.
So, you said Brianna Wu and Anita Sarkeesian kind of inserted themselves into the Gamergate stuff. I'm assuming by like posting something in response to it.
Um, yeah, basically they saw like the culture war kick up, and they started like commenting on it and saying, "I've been harassed too. I've been harassed too. Give me some attention, guys." Like there's a lot of that happening from those two.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
okay, yeah. Here's right. It was I
Uh oh.
think
I see it here. Brianna Wu, lead developer at Giant Space Cat Studios, decides to make a joke Twitter account to mock Gamergaters without mentioning them at all. 90 minutes pass. She reports being targeted by harassment.
I think
Uh,
I found the Toronto stuff with Zoe. It's like another sexual assault allegation that ended up not panning out. There's a bunch
hmm.
of those in her past. I think that's what this is.
See.
This is like a research stream now, like just ancient lore.
Sorry.
No. I
Didn't
I
mean
enjoy
to.
this sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's
Made
what
it
this is.
home safe. No thanks to you. Do not tweet at me again. We will no longer be doing interviews with Blank. We have creator of They Bleed Pixels expressing his disgust for an individual who assaulted Zoe Quinn at a gaming event. The individual is respected amongst the gaming scene. The individual explains himself, but They Bleed Pixels doesn't believe him. Um,
Yeah, it looks like the black text is like what's explaining what's happening
yeah,
here, since a lot of it's been lost to time.
yeah. Um, let's see here. So and then this Miguel says, drunk isn't an excuse for behavior. I was stone cold sober. I saw how you acted and what you did. Now, please leave me alone. Blank asking help usually requires you to say things rather than silently brooding. Also, doesn't require you to grab and injure Zoe. And then this explanation text says, Jesus, that's fucked up. What would compel someone to act that way? Brooding silently and then continuing to grab at Zoe's arm. Weird. Which I assume is like sarcastic. Miguel says, "Oh, awesome! Now he's giving my number out to his friends so that they can try and harass me too. Thanks, asshole." Um, Weird how these people who harass Zoe always do it by phone, so there's not really any proof of it ever happening. It's almost like a wizard did it. Um, it's okay means blank is sorry he got drunk and assaulted Zoe. We can forgive him because he's a dude centric. He's in a dude centric biz, right? What does this even mean? This is how much he's prepared to defend Zoe and extrapolate the night's events for the cause. Um, I think this is going to become an issue as all local indie communities grow. We need to set a precedent, not cool. The Bleed Pixels guy probably didn't realize how much Zoe was lying. His behavior is really what we'd want good people to do. They see what they believe to be a person being harassed and they step in and help. Unfortunately, Zoe was using the night's events to spin this particular individual as a creep fuck. Really, he was a person Zoe was until recently involved with, counting on a friend for help. We also see here some of the rewards of white knighting. It's got to feel great to have people congratulate you just for being a good person, right? Um, Months later, the Toronto indie scene, for the most part, found out that what Zoe's true nature really was. She wasn't welcome there anymore. She'd end up moving to San Francisco and living with Patricia Hernandez, who promised to make her big. Zoe now views Patricia as a hack who never made good on her promise. Zoe and this individual had a brief fling. He wanted more, and Zoe didn't. They decided to break it off, but were still friends. They both attended the event, and when this individual got the news, he thought Zoe would still be a friend he could trust to talk to and have some support. He kept grabbing her arm, trying to beg her to just listen because he was probably disintegrating internally. Kind of a dick move to not just leave her alone, but he had been drinking and probably received some of the worst news of his life. Instead, Zoe used it as an opportunity to make him look like a creep. He got too close and actually wanted something meaningful, so she used this as a clean out. She said he was stalking and harassing her and essentially tried to ruin his reputation. He kept his distance from her since that night. Zoe would use this event as a so brave story about herself, saying her boss came onto her and dislocated her shoulder. She was never employed by him. Her shoulder was never dislocated, and days later, her friends saw her doing manual work with no discomfort. Okay, so this is what happened prior to Gamergate.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, wow.
And there is at least a couple other stories, but I mean, they're going to require digging up in the same thing.
Yeah, wow.
Another thing that happened was Not Your Shield. Did you hear about that?
I did not hear about that. I'm so sorry. I'm making you explain everything.
That's fine. Um, there was a claim for a while that the only people involved in Gamergate were straight white men, and that's all it was. And in response, a shit ton of people post pictures of themselves saying that no, they were women and they were also pro Gamergate. They just
Wow.
weren't part of the game journo indie clique. They weren't in the
Wow.
club. This image went viral on September 2nd. I still remember like half of these girls because it's 10 years later. They've all kind of like gone their separate ways. I think Shoe on Head even posted one of these Not Your Shield images.
Wow.
Some of them have gone like far right. Some of them have gone far left. A few of them have left the internet entirely. Some of them just don't make content anymore.
Yeah.
But basically, a lot of these people, who were pro Gamergate weren't just straight white men. And
Mm.
there's a comic that you see sometimes where it's like a black woman who's gonna like explain something, and then a white woman like puts her hand over the black woman's mouth and says, "You're oppressed. Let me explain." That came out of
Yeah.
Not Your Shield. That was first drawn for Not Your Shield.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Interesting. Um, there's also Milo falsely accusing Zoe Quinn of embezzling money from their game, and then accusing
Let's see
Anita
that.
Sarkeesian of lying about her police report.
Milo
And
falsely
then
accuses Mosley of embezzling money. What was this?
if you've donated money to iFred, why does that charity say you haven't? How much money has Depression Quest raised, and what percentage of that money have you donated to date to iFred?
Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. So Zoe Quinn said that the proceeds from her game Depression Quest, at least a portion of them, will be donated to iFred, which is a depression charity. And Milo
Mm-hmm.
called her up, asked for a comment. Zoe hung up on him.
Mm-hmm.
iFred confirmed that that no one had donated to to them from this game. The issue is Depression Quest is a free game.
Yeah.
There's no profits to be made. So I guess Zoe Quinn technically did donate a portion of all of her profits, which is a portion of zero. So it's not a false statement. It's just kind of a misleading one.
Yeah.
However, even though you could interpret this as Milo being wrong, you could interpret this as Zoe being sneaky, whatever. Even if you say that this story didn't happen, Zoe did later embezzle money for a different game after Gamergate.
Oh.
And that's not
Okay.
going to be in this timeline because she did it like 3 years later, but she did embezzle money for a game.
Yeah.
There was like,
Okay.
do you know The Room, the terrible movie The Room?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the guy that played Mark with like the ginger beard, that
Mhm.
guy? Yeah.
Yeah.
She hired that guy to do an FMV game where he was the star. She raised a
Mhm.
shit ton of money and then she just never put it out. And whenever you ask her,
Wow.
she's like, "Yeah, I spent all the money, sorry." She just admits it. Yeah, there's no more money.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Um, okay. So,
So I can find that. Hold on. This is a post Gamergate drama, so it's, let's see. Let me find it. Come on. This was back in 2018. There's like layers, so you have to like keep digging down.
yeah.
Zoe Quinn FMV game, no info since over 6 months. Come on. Zoe Quinn steals $85,000 from gullible Kickstarters. Give me something more concrete than just a forum post talking about it. Will this give us something? Yeah, here we go. Here's an article.
Kick scammed.
Yep. They cover Kickstarter scams, which is obvious from the name, right?
Yeah. Project Tingler kickstarted in the butt. Zoe Quinn and Chuck Tingle FMV game. Okay. Um, although she continues to solicit PayPal donations for for development, Quinn's Kickstarter account has not been accessed since April of 2018. Um, Project Tingler has yet to leave the pre-alpha stage of development. Um, yeah, it raised $15,000 beyond its original Kickstarter goal, and promises of early access and sneak peeks. Um, Updates have become increasingly rare. Questions and concerns from backers are routinely neglected for periods up to and exceeding 6 months. Um, let's see. Twitter messages to lead developer Zoe Quinn and project manager John E. Warren remain unanswered despite both being active users of the platform. Um, Author Chuck Tingle, whose fictional universe Project Tingler is set, has responded with hostility to those exasperated by the lack of communication. Um,
Yep. Um,
TLDR is still working on it, just slower because I ran out of money a long time ago and had to get day jobs. Also, I have been working on ways to bring on some assistance with finishing it. Also, don't yell at Chuck about it. Shipping the game is on me. Um, okay, and then oh, I see. This is a response to the
yeah, these are two tweets that she sent as time went on regarding where the money went.
okay.
And the second one, she just says, "Ran out of money. Sorry."
Ran out of money a long time ago. Not cool with asking people to work for free. Got a day job to start crawling out of debt, and in a place where I can properly finish it. This is the day job. Uh,
The issue ultimately is while she's posting stuff like this, she's also posting stuff like this. And so people are saying, "Hey, we're donating all this money to you, and you're saying that you ran out of money to actually finish the game. Where are you getting the money to go on these trips and
yeah.
do these things?"
Time to stop being bitter about the people trying to sap my joy in bad faith and go back to appreciating the fact that I get to be too busy with making cool shit that I love to completely goof off in Tokyo. One awesome problem I get to have, just like the awesome problem of the Ryokan owner telling me she had to swap out the yukata in my room for the big booby yukata instead. Bless her. Okay. Yeah. Whoops. Um,
Yeah, so basically it's been years and years and years. A bunch of money has just vanished. There seems to be no accountability. So it's
Wow.
pretty clear where it went. This is like the where did all of Keffels' money go, guys? It's kind of the same thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. This is really good going through like a clearly slanted timeline and like and getting your take on these things since you have like a different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Cuz
see.
it's very clearly slanted.
And
Um
so Milo also accused Nia Sarkeesian of lying about a police report. I want to see what that link is. Oh, I think that link's dead now. Whatever it
yeah.
was, it's not leading to anything anymore.
Miles stories on Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian get debunked. Um
Let's see if I can
the debunking is that Sarkeesian her case is being actually handled by the FBI. So um
let's see. Okay, is this it? Yeah, because that link is dead, it looks like. So this is from during the initial days of Gamergate, where Anita claimed that she was driven out of her house by trolls posting, her address to her or something.
hmm. Um it's that's not the debunked part. The debunked part is like Milo tweeting that he talked with SFPD and they say that the
Yeah,
Sarkeesian case is being dealt with by the FBI.
yeah, that's this
Yeah.
image here, which is Milo and Mike Cernovich's old. Oh yeah, I don't know if you knew this. Mike Cernovich got his start in Gamergate too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Man, okay, I haven't. This is going to be a bit of a side story. I haven't heard of Mike Cernovich since Gamergate. I know he's been floating around. He's been like, he wrote the Gorilla Mindset. He's been selling like
Yeah.
the gorilla drugs to like get people to. They're like caffeine enhancers or something. I don't fucking know what they are. But like he's kind of tried to hop on the manosphere train,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Man,
Yeah.
I did a video on Andrew Tate. I think 2 days ago, just like an update on some of the things because you know who Nick Monroe is?
I don't. Who's that?
Do you know Crab Crawler
Yeah.
on Twitter?
Yeah, I know
That's his
Crabcrawler.
secret account. Don't tell anyone that's Nick Monroe. Nick Monroe is an investigative journalist, and
Oh.
he first got big live tweeting some trials 4 or 5 years back. And I've talked to him a bunch of times. He's a good guy. But his whole thing is like deep dives, like Gamergate style deep
Wow.
dives. And I basically did a video crediting him and putting all of his research into video format. But
Yeah.
he did a big ass thread where he discovered that Mike Cernovich was in Andrew Tate's war room selling his gorilla drugs to Andrew Tate and other people there.
That's wild. I think I remember that actually. That is
Yeah.
wild. Yeah.
And so
Wow.
when Andrew Tate says, "Yeah, I make my girls do 16-hour days in front of the camera," Crab Crawler was like, "Listen, are you giving them the gorilla drugs to keep them going? Like, what's going on here? What is?"
Yeah.
Fuck.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just outed a secret on stream.
Oh, what that Nick Monroe is Crab Crawler?
Yeah.
I think it's like semi-public knowledge at this point.
Okay. Wow.
He was like permabanned from Twitter for a while for unearthing the wrong secrets, for live tweeting about the wrong trials. But he came back, and now that Elon's back, no one cares anymore. You know, now that
Yeah.
Elon's in control of things.
Yeah. Though I still see people getting like wrecked by Twitter, like TOS or whatever.
Yeah, I was banned for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What for? What did you get banned for?
Um, I said that being trans was a mental illness, and because it's gender dysphoria, and
Yeah.
transitioning is the proper medical treatment for the illness. And if you try to make being trans an aesthetic and not a mental illness, you're going to completely remove the medical side of it, and now suddenly a bunch of trans people are going to be left without their health care.
Mhm.
So you guys need to chill the fuck down. Like you guys need to
Yeah.
calm down with this shit, because you're ruining things for trans people, and that got me
Yeah.
banned for a week.
Wow. I can't believe that got you banned.
Yep, it's true too. Like I know it's like kind of spicy,
Yeah.
but it's true. Like
I mean, you know, that you have to argue then what is the justification of like giving like medical treatment to all these trans people if it's just an aesthetic that you can claim?
yeah, yeah. There's a clip that I use over and over, and maybe I can actually find it for you. Hold on.
Yeah.
If I can't find it for you, I'll upload it, because fuck,
Okay.
it's funny. Is this it? No, it's not it. Fuck. Come on, internet. Help me out. Oh, maybe I can't. God damn it. Here. I wonder if it's small enough that I can just send it to you over Discord. Uh,
A lot of people tuned in for your Gamergate summary.
really?
Wild.
What's the
Yeah.
numbers looking like?
There's like 155 on YouTube right now.
Oh, nice. Hi, guys.
Um,
What's up? Here. I'll upload it, like, privately. I'll set it to...
Okay.
I use this clip so much in my videos because it's so ridiculous. It's one of those stock clips I just keep around whenever I have to
Yeah.
bring it up. Okay. Unlisted. This should be good.
Everybody's saying hi Dev to you in the YouTube chat.
Hello. Where is it?
I'm here for Dev. I'm a fan of him. Yeah, I'm a fan too. He's pretty cool.
Oh, well, thank you.
Nice to meet you, Sundance. Excuse me? What did you call me?
is your
Sundance?
is your name Sundance?
It is not Sundance.
Okay, watch this.
Okay.
Would be the
It's a minute, so I'll just kind of sit back and...
Okay.
so...
Okay. So you're gonna have to explain it to me because I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
Oh, no?
No, I
Well,
didn't under. Well, let me play it again. It
okay.
might take me. It might take me a minute. I'm sorry. It's just like for me, it's just like, okay, you know, typical retarded take, but yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, it is just a typical retarded take, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want, like, a single sound clip that completely demolishes the entire leftist view on what being trans is, it's this one. If gender actually is just an aesthetic, as she
Yeah.
claims, then there's no
Yeah.
reason for any of it to be covered in terms of medical costs. There's no
Yeah.
reason for anyone to respect it. You know, like, why would you?
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't respect it any more than you would respect someone's choice of clothing, which is sometimes inappropriate, and it's sometimes like it's not part of your identity anymore. You know, like this one line of logic destroys everything that trans people have been trying to build for pretty much ever.
Yeah.
So I
That
keep
is
this in my
wild.
I
Yeah.
keep this in my back pocket, and I'm like, listen, if I ever need to like pull out, oh, here's something retarded, I have it ready to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty retarded. It's up there with. I think I remember seeing this actually and just being like, okay, really? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Um. Wow. Uh. uh so I guess I'm gonna have to like look through the more of this Gamergate stuff, but like,
What were we talking about
there's
before?
so
Yeah, hold on.
much.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Jesse Single gets involved in this and writes a an article about it. Um,
Hmm.
Mike Cernovich goes after Anil Dash in the name of Gamergate for no apparent reason. Dash has never written about Gamergate or video games, but has a history of Cernovich stalking him. What?
Is that true? Let's see. Mike Cernovich goes after. Huh. Who's Anil Dash?
I have no idea.
Yeah, this I don't know what this part is at all. This is all news to me. I'm not surprised that Mike Cernovich ended up being kind of a grifter.
Yeah. Let's see. He goes after him. Um, I don't know what this is. What?
Let's see what this is. When the Gamergate mob targeted Anil Dash for no reason.
SJWs are bullies. I hate bullies. How do you handle a mob of bullies? You single them out one by one. Docs, 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 docs. If
Oh,
believing in the first. Yeah, sorry, go
someone
ahead.
in your chat quickly asked, "Isn't the Dear Gender weirdo on some sort of mod team for Twitch?" No, there's actually two Dear
That's a
Gender
different
weirdos.
deer.
There's
Yeah, that's a different deer.
fucking hell. There's multiples of them. Yes, there's a herd.
Yeah. Well, there's two. I don't know if two makes a herd, but
Maybe.
yeah. If believing the First Amendment and due process makes me a sociopath, then I'm guilty as charged. Aaron is a nice guy. I, on the other hand, am not so nice. I play a lot meaner than SJWs. Just wait till I issue subpoenas and start doxing. Holy shit, Mike Cernovich is like fucking unhinged in these tweets.
Yeah,
Um,
back in the old days. No, this is a story that completely went by me. I have no clue that this happened.
I don't know. It looks like Gamergate ended up just being a massive W for the pro Gamergaters. Um,
I mean, kind of not, because like if you look at the state of video game development right now, it's certainly more woke than it was back then, and they didn't want that. So I think a lot of them view it as like a massive loss. None of the people that they discovered to be, I guess with the exception of Phil Fish, none of the people that were discovered to have been doing anything wrong ever got punished for it. They never lost their jobs. They never lost their positions. They in fact got promotions. Um,
hmm,
Nathan Grayson moved on from Kotaku to the Washington Post, I think. Like Stephen Toledo, I think he moved on to somewhere else too. Like basically their careers kept going. Um,
yeah.
a few indie developers that like some of the worst people kind of had their careers collapse. Like nobody pays attention to Zoe Quinn anymore. No one cares. Nobody pays
Hmm,
attention to Nia Sarkeesian anymore. Like her channel's dead. It gets like 100 views a video with like 1 million subs or something. Like it's a dead channel.
hmm.
Um, Brianna Wu, I think, is only relevant because she stopped doing game development and tried to run for office. So she completely jumped into a different sphere. So I think she kind of
Yeah.
survived by just getting out of gaming. Um, yeah, like if you pull up what gets promoted on, let's say, the latest Nintendo Direct or the latest Sony State of Play, what's pushed to the front of the websites what's pushed to the front of these article of these news outlets. It's
Right.
all stuff that Gamergaters would have hated to see 10 years ago. So I don't think that they view it as a win.
Really? I
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like isn't that couldn't that just be like the natural progression of things as we get into more like globalized and multicultural, society? Like things just naturally get more like that. Maybe it's not necessarily like a loss on Gamergate's side.
Are you doing the whole Cthulhu swims left thing?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, hold on. It's an expression. Right. It's from Moldbug. Cthulhu may swim slowly, but he only swims left. You said Moldbug was based yesterday. I remember that comment.
Well, okay, I only read a little bit of some of the stuff he was saying. Like, I'm not saying I said he had some base takes. I didn't say he himself was based. Okay, so we
Stardust is
should
going
have
on the
that
neo
clear.
reactionary arc, guys. It's gonna
Oh God,
happen.
dude.
It's gonna happen. Um, the idea basically, you know what? I think a better way to. Okay, hold on. Robert Conquest. 3 laws of politics. Which law was it? Which one?
What was the
Okay,
Nintendo Direct or Kotaku? Which one were you saying people would hate what they see?
hold on a second. Right. Any organization not explicitly right wing sooner or later becomes left wing. That's the underlying idea behind Cthulhu Swims Left. So basically, like, culture's always progressing leftward over time. It's not progressing rightward. I don't think that that's necessarily true because the
Mm-hmm.
neoconservative win of Reagan and Thatcher in the 80s kind of proved that decisively wrong. There were
Mm-hmm.
the flagging economies in the West of the 70s that were kind of bogged down by a lot of social spending, got revitalized by neoconservatism. So I don't think this is a true statement that things always moved left leaning, but they've certainly moved left leaning consistently in the past 30 years. And I think some people just
Um.
don't like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not trying to say that like things always have to move left leaning, but more of what I would be saying is like we live in a increasingly globalized society. Globalization is very widespread. Culture, has been exported to a lot of different places, and we're a very multicultural society now as a whole. So like us being a multicultural society now, I don't know what was it Kotaku you said that people would not like what's being shown on the front page or whatever?
Um, I think so. Yes, like that's what gamers would not like if they went to like the front page of even maybe even Steam. No, Steam is pretty impartial still. But like, if you go to the front page of Kotaku or Polygon, I think the games that are featured or the political slants that are pushed, people who were in Gamergate, if they could like see the future, they probably wouldn't like it. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if like I don't know. I guess I was just thinking more about like representation in video games and stuff like that. But if it's just like straight up like left wing like politics that are being pushed, then yeah, I could see people not
Mhm.
liking that and seeing it kind of like a failure.
Well, the
So,
thing is, like, gaming was kind of unique because people never had a problem with representation in it before. If you go back
mhm,
to the 90s, you go back to the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation 1, you could find black characters, no problem, female protagonists, you could find all this shit. And they had like real things to do, real stories. It wasn't like a Captain Marvel situation or a Rey Skywalker situation, if we're going to go down like the quartering route here, where you have like these female characters that have no arcs. They undergo no growth. They don't suffer and like overcome and get better. They're just badass from the start, and then they just win, and it's not really an interesting story. You actually find female characters in video games who suffered and became heroic like male characters did. That's been
mhm,
in gaming since before I was born.
mhm,
So I just think that like this whole we need more diversity in games, it always just ringed hollow to anyone who knew.
mhm. Mhm. No, I mean, I'm not saying that that sentiment itself was correct. I'm just saying like I don't know, I see like people freaking out about there being more representation and it seems kind of like, well, I'm not saying that we should push for it, but maybe there being more than there was prior is kind of like a natural progression of things, you know? But
Um,
yeah.
I think the ultimate issue is just that the games suck, but
Yeah.
they hide behind representation. It's like, oh well, your
Mhm.
game actually controls really poorly and it's not very fun to play. Oh, but it has a
Yeah.
black female protagonist. If you complain, you're a bigot. It's something like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And you saw a
Yeah.
lot of that too.
Yeah. For sure. I can definitely see that. Like with games and stuff. Like with comics, like there've always been female protagonists in comics and in superhero comics and all of that. So,
Hmm.
yeah. And they've always been pretty complex. Um so it's not anything new like you said, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, oh, this is. I was watching you watch Destiny and Richard Spencer talk last
Mhm.
night. And there was something that you just said that was kind of related to that, where it's like there's the globalization of culture and things are kind of becoming more mixed and these ideas are spreading around more quickly. I remember like I think both Destiny and Richard Spencer agreed that there like something's been lost in the globalization, right?
Yeah, individual, you know, the individual identity, you know, people more easily found. I think it's harder for people to kind of feel like they're individualistic nowadays because everything is so widespread. I don't know, maybe that's just
Yeah, there's
my
definitely
take on it.
that's definitely part of it. There's also like he I think Destiny used the example of Nirvana where they were just like being shitty in a garage and they were discovered and they blew up and it was this kind of like almost like music that was anti-music because it was so grungy,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
But now everything is just kind of pre-packaged and like
yeah,
pre-built and pre-made and nothing's like the internet was a breath of fresh air because things could go viral, but even on the internet now, like a lot of things that are going viral are like just kind of pushed to go viral. It's not
yeah,
organic anymore. It's all kind of
yeah.
like pre-planned. And uh, in my, oh, I forget how I worded it. You watched the video. It was the video about being indigenous. What does it mean to be indigenous? I made the
Hmm.
point that there's a lot of people who are, let's say, far left. They're socialists, and they
Hmm.
they hate capitalist economics, right? They
Hmm.
say that it turns people into disposable workers, and everyone's just replaceable, and it doesn't actually respect the dignity of individuals. And it's a the complaint is that it makes everything and everyone disposable, and that's like one of capitalism's greatest sins. The problem with it, the socialists are somewhat correct when they say that. That's true. But the issue is the other half of the left, which is the progressives, they want to, mix cultures, have more open borders, more immigrants. And what ends up happening is that with the cultural mix, you also get the economic fungibility. They kind of come hand in hand. Where like you, if you, how do I want to put this? It's something like fuck. How did I say it? I don't. I said it so well in the video, and now that I'm live streaming, I can't say it anymore. It's basically something along the lines of like the interchangeability that socialists decry when it comes to capitalism comes hand in hand with the cultural interchangeability that naturally happens as a result of globalization and progressivism. And so, in some senses, the left causes its own problem.
Hmm.
And I don't think that socialists will ever want to admit that, but I think it's true.
Can you repeat what you just said one more time? The line you were trying so hard
Yeah,
to
I'll
yeah.
try. I'll try it again. So I think I've
Yeah.
already half lost it. It's something like the interchangeability in economics that socialists decry capitalism for having. They are
Mhm.
partially caused by the interchangeability in culture that progressives push for when they push for globalization and open
Okay.
borders and
Yeah, yeah,
the
I can
merging
see
of
that.
cultures and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
agree with that. Yeah.
so in some ways, the left causes its own capitalist problem.
Yeah. I could see that 100%. Yeah.
That's because you're not a
Um,
socialist. A
I'm
socialist will
not a
never admit
socialist.
that. For them, it's always going to be like Marx's historical materialism and the
Yeah.
contradictions of capitalism and all this shit. But like they, oh man, okay. There's a neo-reactionary writer named Nick Land, and
Uh-huh.
he basically agreed with everything that the socialists said. Well, not everything, not everything. No, that's not accurate. He agreed with a lot of what the socialists said, but he said that the contradictions in capitalism were human beings, and abolishing capitalism meant abolishing people. And that's when you get into like the technocratic future where you have AIs running everything, and AIs producing all the goods and all the services, and eventually they're just going to do away with humans. That's like the doomsday AI future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um,
Oh, the chat says Stardust seems bored. Sorry.
no, I'm not bored. I'm not bored. Uh, I guess I'm just trying to like because this is a little bit above my head. But um okay. So I can definitely see that like the multiculturalism can and the pushing of progressive values and open borders and all of that leads to a lot of these downfalls of the economic system that like we operate under. Um and I can see that where was I going with this?
It's time to take the neo-reactionary pill, Stardust.
Well, there is something like okay, there's like a loss of individuality. And I think there's a little bit of a loss of community too, right? Like, well, not
Yes.
just a little
Yeah.
bit. There's a huge loss of community. But there's not just a loss of individuality, there's a loss of community, which is really strange to think about, like both of these things happening simultaneously as a result of this increasingly multicultural society. But it makes sense, and I almost think that the fracturing of the internet is like I this is funny because this is something that like JF Garepi was saying that he thinks would happen, that there would be a fracturing of the internet, and not just him, other people have talked about it, like that there are different countries with their own internets now, and
hmm hmm
you know and
I think I
things
said
like
this too.
that.
I did a
Yeah.
video in like 2016 called "The Balkanization of Technology." It was right after
Yeah.
like the that James guy put out. It was some kind of engineering document regarding how do you get more women into engineering spots in Google. He got fired for it because he spoke honestly about what the problem was. Do you
Mhm.
remember that at all?
I don't remember that, no.
Really, it was a big thing. I did a video about it in like 2016, and my view was that the internet was going to balkanize, and we'd have like right wing websites and left wing websites. You have right wing Twitter, left wing
Yeah, and
Twitter.
we see
You'd
that.
have
Mhm.
gaming Twitter. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, so with that being said, I think JF was saying that he could see it happening, and this is what I was trying to explain to Destiny earlier with like the Fediverse and all of that.
hmm
You see these instances like kind of blocking the entirety of other instances off, and they kind of become their own insular community, and you see the same thing with like I don't know, you see like you said, like these subsets of Twitter, right? These subsets
Oh,
of Twitter communities.
someone in the chat said James Damore. That's who it was. James Damore.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think it's interesting that we have this like in the like IRL space, I guess is what I would call it. You have this increasing multiculturalism, and it's good in a lot of ways, right? And this increasing of culture being exported to a lot of different places and being shared with a lot of different places, right? And then but at the same time, you have like a loss of you have people feeling like they've lost their individuality and their sense of community, and I think the what's happening on the internet with the like what you're saying, the balkanization of the internet is kind of a response to that. So people are kind of um looking for a sense of identity online and through politics and through um and through their political identity online. And I think that we can kind of see that happening. Like, you see how polarized people are in politics online, how people who should get along don't get along, like, uh like how much, like, socialists of different types will fight with each other and, like, excommunicate each other.
Well, that's
um
not new. You can see that 100 years ago too.
oh, really?
Oh yeah,
It
absolutely.
just feels like it does feel like politics is more polarized, though, at least in American society. Maybe it's just in my brain, but it seems like that's the case, and I think that might be a natural reaction to this loss of, like, um what people what people think made them individual, I guess.
I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Richard Spencer said something that I think is probably correct in that video you were watching yesterday, and it's that America was always an empire; it wasn't a nation state, right?
Mhm.
That's why you have states and not provinces, because you have 50 states,
Mhm.
50 different types of people who are all kind of different, um, and you're all united under one federal government.
Mhm.
You're from India, so you definitely know this too. Like the Indian government is a federal one because you have all these different types of people under one government. You know,
Yeah.
um, Canada's kind of the same. Like we have provinces in Canada, so it's not quite the same. But like, there's definitely a difference between people on the East Coast and the Central Canada and the West Coast, Ontario. You have the French people in Quebec, like different kinds of people here. Meanwhile, you look at Europe, and in in France, there's French people, right? It's a nation state.
Mhm.
In Japan, there's Japanese people. It's a nation, a state for a nation. That's not how it is in the West. So that like I think that basically because there's so many different types of people, and we no longer have like um an identity, because having one is racist now, because they're going to call you white supremacist if you have any kind of identity. Even if it's not a white one, you could be like, oh, I'm proud to be American. Oh, well, that's being racist. It's like, well, is it? No, it's not. But some progressives say that it is. I think like
Mhm.
once you strip away any sort of possible ethnic identity, whether it's like a civic nationalist identity or an ethnic nationalist identity, some sort of identity that revolves around your polity. Once you strip that away, you're left with political groups, ideologies. You're left with sports teams. You're left with being a gamer or not. You're left with all sorts of other things that can be destructive, right?
Yeah.
And I think Richard Spencer was right when he just talked about he was saying stuff about how like there's oh man, have you watched any Kraut videos yet?
I love crowd.
His
Yeah.
video. Have you seen his video? It's an hour and a half long. His video on realism.
No, I haven't seen it.
That is one of the best ones he has made. You've got to watch it. It's great. But he spends some time talking about the crisis of modernity. And
Mhm.
the crisis of modernity. Have you heard about that idea before?
I I think I've heard it in vague terms, but I don't think I know what it means.
It's basically the idea that we have reached the limit of Enlightenment thinking. The Enlightenment came about because we realized, oh, we can use rationality to figure out the world. We're going to use science, the scientific method. We're going to use history. We're going to use languages. We're going to use all of the. We're not going to be like emotional anymore. We're not going to be basing things on honor anymore or on like family tribal structures. We're going to be rationalistic about society,
Mhm.
right? And Hegel, being a product of the Enlightenment, he basically predicted fascism like over 100 years before it came about, because he said that the ultimate rationalistic project the would be the state as God on Earth.
Mhm.
Since if you're going to construct everything rationalistically, you're going to plan everything out, it's going to require the ultimate state, and the fascists fully embraced that. So fascism is kind of seen as like the natural end of Enlightenment thinking. Um, this is, by the way, the main reason that that reactionaries view fascism as left wing, because they will say that liberalism, socialism, and fascism are all products of the Enlightenment, and so
Mhm.
they're on the left, and their thinking is pre-Enlightenment. It's feudalism, it's monarchy, it's from before the Enlightenment.
Uh-huh.
So fascism is left wing to them. But basically, we actually have reached the limits of rationalistic thinking, because we've discovered what's it called? Hold on, let me just real quick.
On that point, though, um
Okay, I've got it. Gödel's incompleteness theorems. There are basically two things. Veritasium did a great video called "The Hole at the Bottom of Math." The idea
Mhm.
is basically that there are two things that we know to be true, but we can't prove them. It is impossible for human logic to prove them, and we don't know why. But they are true, and they're unprovable. And they're like a core component deep down in the most complicated parts of mathematics. We just can't prove them true, but we know that they're true. So it's
Mhm.
like, well, what do you do with that? We've learned similar things about science regarding like we can't truly know the position of an electron, right? We know it's there, but we don't know which way it's spinning. We don't know which way it's rotating. We don't like. There are just some things that we cannot know. There's a hard limit on what we can rationalistically figure out using human senses and using all of our skills and all of our abilities. And this is basically the you can read a lot of people who are anti-liberal, like a lot of the fascist writers, a lot of the socialist writers, a lot of these political theorists, and they all independently come to the same conclusion. And that conclusion ultimately is that ideology doesn't matter at all. It's all just like a post hoc justification for uses of power. So liberals, socialists, and fascists will all do the same thing given the exact same historical material conditions, and they just use their ideologies to disguise to legitimize their use of power. And I don't believe that, by the way, but that's how these people view it. And
Mhm.
and they get to this point of view because it's a crisis. It's like a crisis of meaning, basically. There's there's nothing underneath any of it. It sounds very nihilistic, but there's no foundation to any of our beliefs. And so the bottom has fallen out. There's no God. God won't catch us because now we God is dead. Nietzsche said God is dead. So there's nothing. And it's like, well, what do we do? Oh, lots of people say it's all just power. It's just political power at the end of the day, and power is all that
Yeah.
matters. I
Yeah.
don't believe that, but it's a very seductive argument. Kraut's video is
Yeah.
very good on it. You should watch it for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry for the
Is it
rant.
the
Sorry.
no? Is it no? It's really interesting. It's fascinating. Um. Uh. Is that his most recent video? Critique
A
of
critique of
no.
realism. Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
that
Yeah.
still
I'll
his most
take a
recent
look.
video? I think it is.
Think so. Yeah. 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Interesting that you say that because I remember also that conversation yesterday that Spencer and Destiny were having and Spencer said that like is it liberalism that he said was a donut, or
Yes,
he
with
said
nothing in the
society is
center.
a donut.
He said
Yeah,
liberalism's
nothing
a
in the
donut.
center.
It offers people nothing to actually hold on to because it has no prescriptions. There's probably some truth to that if you
Yeah,
think about it. I think
yeah.
what he meant by that, it was something like, okay, maybe it's more libertarianism than liberalism, but like
Mm,
definitely, if what is the argument for decriminalizing pot? Well, it doesn't hurt me if you're just doing it to yourself. It doesn't matter, right? That's a decent
yeah,
argument for decriminalizing pot. But like you can take that logic to some pretty dark roads. You can say it for like meth, for heroin. You see people
yeah,
destroying their lives in the streets. Like, well, that's not good, right?
yeah,
Um, I think what if Alt Hist at one point said that society is just a foundation that we all agree to believe in, and then we build on top of that. But if you don't have the same foundation, you can't really get along. It's something like that. It's like, well, we've agreed on this logic, and we're going to guide ourselves by this logic. These are going to be our core rules, and then from there we can have, as long as we're all playing the same game, we can play the game, and maybe I win sometimes, maybe you win sometimes. We're all playing the same game. If you're outside the game and you're trying to destroy the game, it's a different type of politics altogether.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So I think that's what he was getting at. Is something like, I know Sargon wrote the article "The Acid of Liberalism," where basically because liberalism has no prescriptions and it like and the progressives kind of morph all culture into like this unified gray sludge where no one's offended and nothing's really distinct anymore.
I've heard the gray sludge from Spencer before, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
lots of
ahead.
people have said that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's just it's this idea that because you know if you talk to a liberal, they'll say, well, freedom is our virtue, and it's like, well, that's a pretty good virtue if you're oppressed, but
yeah,
what virtues are there if you're not oppressed? If you don't need you don't need freedom anymore, you
yeah,
live in a free society. What do you do now? Liberals don't seem to have an answer for that. They don't have like a positive vision they can put forward of the world. What's like, well, you should do this. Conservatives have that, which is why even though I don't view myself as a conservative. I don't like conservative politicians, especially in America. They're fucking insane. But conservative political philosophy is very good
Yeah.
because liberalism will liberate you, but it won't tell you what to do with your liberation. Conservatives will, though. Conservatives will say, okay, well, maybe you should, get married and have kids, and work a decent job, provide for yourself, build something of value to you and those around you. Like those are all conservative prescriptions, right? A liberal wouldn't tell you that stuff.
Yeah.
I think I think I've said this a few times. It's like governments should be liberal and people should be conservative. I think it's something like that. I was talking to
Mhm.
Dylan Burns, and he took offense at how I worded it, but he ultimately agreed with me. I said,
Yeah.
if you're talking to a young gay man who doesn't know what to do with his life, would you tell him to get married to a partner and adopt some kids and be responsible and have a family and be a pillar of your community, or would you go to the piss guzzling orgies and spread disease around? What's better for you? You can do both of them. You're free, but what's better for you? Like clearly, the first option is better than the second, right?
Yeah.
So I think yeah, I think you need like a dose of conservatism to go along with your liberalism just to give you direction in life.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Yeah, some of these some of these uh you know um ideas are definitely like above my head. But they're definitely very interesting.
Kraut's video, man. You'll
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to watch it on stream or anything, but it's a really good video to watch. He
Okay, yeah, I'll
he
take a
he
look.
does it better than me, that's for sure.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Someone in your chat is like, anyone want to write an article in Mr. Girl, Lav, and Shaylin with me? I'm not in the Destiny orbiter sphere. I don't completely know what's going on. What's the what's the latest on Mr. Girl and Lav and Shaylin?
We had the call where I yelled at Shaylin. She came in screaming, and so I just like snapped and I started yelling at her and calling her a
Oh fuck,
cunt.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He told her to go be a sex doll.
Yeah. Yeah. I went a little bit unhinged there, but like I don't know what it is. Like she came in screaming and her voice was just so grating on me. And usually it takes me a lot to push me to the edge, but that night her coming in and screaming it just took me there. I just started seeing red and I couldn't help myself and I started yelling at her and yeah, I just lost my cool, you know? Hate to see it, but it happened.
I thought it
So,
was really funny. I remember seeing that now. Yeah, I thought it was really funny.
yeah.
Oh man, there was so I've always considered myself like kind of a moderate, kind of a centrist. Um,
Yeah.
for a long time, I called myself center left like 8 years ago. I no longer feel comfortable calling myself center left because the left's gone fucking nuts.
Mhm.
And plus, people who are truly on like the socialist left, they think I'm a fascist anyway. So fuck it. I don't
Yeah.
owe these people anything. Um, but like I've seen some people in my chat, or sorry, not in my chat, in my comments, they're like, Dev's turning leftward so he can try to be the next Destiny orbiter. And I'm like,
Mm.
I've had the permissions to go into Destiny stream for like 6 months now and I haven't used them. I think I used them once, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not as big as Destiny, but I'm about like 20% Destiny size. When I fire up a stream, I can get like maybe 500, maybe 1,000 for a political stream. It's not bad numbers, right? So
Yeah.
like I don't need I no offense to Destiny. He's not going to watch this, but no offense to him anyway. But I don't like need the bump. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
So there are people who are like, I can't believe you're trying to like a court DGG. I'm like, I'm not. I'm really not.
You don't need to be a left winger to be an orbiter either. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that there are people who don't align with him on stuff. I'm pretty sure, like, I kind of more identify as like a neo-lib, I think. I think I don't know what I identify as, but I think there's like a communist chick.
Oh, is
There's
there?
like yeah, there's a communist chick who joins the calls. There are people of um different political leanings,
Counterpoints is in
different
there,
from.
right? Because
Yeah,
he's a
counterpoints is
conservative.
in there. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's a conservative.
conservative, or he's center right. So yeah. Um,
Isn't
yeah,
ABBA also kind of conservative too?
I
He
don't know what
strikes.
ABBA is. I think he's
Yeah,
more apolitical.
yeah, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe. But yeah,
yeah,
sometimes like I get a bit tired of just the constant drama that comes out of that community, but sometimes it's fun to watch. Sometimes it's fun to watch just a
yeah,
good shit show.
yeah, yeah. Um, Destiny even said Connor was his star opposition right now. That's
Oh, is that
based.
true? Oh,
Yeah, I
I
didn't know that.
I I have a like maybe this is I don't know how I want to word this carefully. I wouldn't mind talking to Connor, but one, I don't know if he'd want to talk to me, and two, I don't know what we talk about.
Hmm.
I'm not sure.
He's a really cool guy. I get along with him really well. Yeah, yeah, he's very, very cool. You'd probably get along with him,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you guys would talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know either.
yeah.
Um, was there any more Gamergate stuff to talk about?
There
Let's
probably
see.
is, but I'm probably gonna have to read more on it, and then come back at you with stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so
Uh,
much.
who was? Oh god, yeah. There's so many old names that I just remember now. You know, like there's this person's here, Margaret Plus. Who was Margaret Plus? Oh yeah, some nutter.
Alistair Pinsoff.
Alistair
Um,
Pinsoff. Oh fuck that. Oh, hold on. I almost remembered who that was.
Somebody says talk the Anita Sarkeesian edge.
Anita Sarkeesian. Talk the Anita. What do you mean by the Anita Sarkeesian edge?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Um,
Oh no, Alistair Pinsoff. He was like a. He was part of a. Was it Destructoid? Yeah. There was only one gaming outlet that was pro Gamergate at the time, and that was the Escapist,
hmm,
and they got fucking cut off from everyone because of their pro Gamergate stance. That's right.
wow,
Yeah, February 13. Movie Bob was fired from the Escapist.
wow.
Um.
What have you been thinking about all the Islam stuff recently?
Oh, like all of Destiny's shit posting about Islam.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's funny, right? But I mean, I remember like duking it out with Muslims 10 years ago, and it was the same stuff, like death threats
yeah,
constantly, just
yeah.
claims of being Islamophobic. It's
Yeah,
like,
when I first came onto the internet, the first people I ended up interacting and arguing with were like fundy Muslims.
oh yeah,
Half of them were fundy Muslims, and half of them were like super far right people. And they kind of interacted with each other a lot, and they hated each other, even though most of the views that they had were very similar. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, man, I remember 10 years ago, conservatives would not like the comparison with Sharia law, presumably because of the war on terror, and now they're like, oh,
mhm.
it's pretty based actually. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, Ethan
Yeah, I don't
Ralph
know.
got started in Gamergate too. Did you know
Yeah, he
that?
did.
Yeah.
I did
Okay.
know that, yeah. He
Fuck.
he wrote he wrote some articles, right, on it?
Hmm.
That's how he got
Yep.
started? No.
Yep. He and I were friends at one point, way back in the day.
Hmm.
But he
Yeah,
like,
him and I are still cool, kind of, but, I'm
hold on.
I'm trying to stay away from that sphere,
um,
so
didn't he like get your channel blasted off the internet?
I don't know if it was him specifically, but it was definitely, like, one of his super fans that had it happen,
Man,
so
there are old logs of Ralph participating in getting channels taken down during Gamergate. So like, I would not be
wow,
surprised. He's always done this shit.
yeah,
He's always done this shit.
yeah. I mean, I still think he's an interesting guy,
Oh,
but
for sure. Yeah, he's really
yeah.
funny. He's always got
He's
something going
very funny.
on.
He's very funny. He's a great entertainer. He's an excellent entertainer. Say what you will about him, but he knows how to entertain an audience.
Hmm.
Um, to the point where even his hate watchers like are tuning in because they're entertained by the guy. Um, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing though. Like he got Sargon banned off Patreon. He helped get
Oh
Kraut
wow.
banned off the internet for a while. Like he's fucked over like he's rather apolitical when it comes to who he fucks over. He fucks over everyone all the time. You know, if he
Yeah.
can do it, he will. So
Yeah.
I'm actually just gonna see real quick. Where does this timeline end?
The timeline and
Oh, 2022. That's right. David DePape attacks Paul Pelosi with a hammer. He describes himself as radicalized by Gamergate.
Jesus. Yeah. Wow.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I see 2021 January. Brandon Wu states in the aftermath of 2021 United States Capitol attack that everything I tried to get the FBI to act on in the aftermath of Gamergate has now come true. We told people that if social media companies like Facebook and Reddit did not tighten their policies about these communities of organized hate, that we were going to see violent insurrection in the United States. We told people that these communities were organizing online for violence and extremism. That unfortunately has proven to be true. Interesting.
Yep.
Tech Raptor describes Gamergate as an insane alt right hate group. I don't know. That's like it seems like it seems like Gamergate was had so many moving parts. It's not accurate to call it a group of any type. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. There was definitely people from all across the political spectrum that were engaged in it. There were definitely some harassers. There were definitely some people who were just looking to make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
There were people there were right leaning people who just wanted to fuck with the feminists. There were left leaning people who saw this as a stab in the back from progressives who should have had their back, but those
Mm,
progressives ended up being corrupt. So like there it
mm.
was all sorts of things all at once. Yeah. Who is this editor of Tech? Yeah, Tech Raptor was very pro Gamergate back in the day, and they've always been like pretty chill. I wonder if they had a new editor that like or if they
Hmm.
just changed their views.
Oh, it says here Tech Raptor announces a complete removal of all Gamergate articles,
Yeah,
citing that they violated journalistic ethic of do no harm by writing the articles in the first place. Wow. What the fuck?
yeah. I'm not sure that's a journalistic ethics thing. Articles do harm all the
Yeah.
time. It just depends.
Yeah.
And it's gonna sound strange. It's gonna sound strange, but like harm isn't sometimes isn't the most important thing. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Tech Raptor
Okay.
just got in because like I remember talking to the editor of Tech Raptor back then, and he was a really chill person. I mean, editors change out all the time, right? Like people who run
Mhm.
sites. So who knows? Maybe they're just going in a new direction. That's
Yeah.
that's their business, I guess.
Hmm. Um, I there was something on my mind, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's right. I did a video on this. Fucking Mercedes Carrera ended up sexually abusing her daughter. Fuck.
yikes. Oh, that's so disgusting.
Do you know who Mercedes Carrera is?
I don't know who that is, but so
Okay,
disgusting.
she's a porn star who got in on the whole Gamergate thing, and
Uh-huh.
she was talking about it back in 2014, and basically it came out in 2019 that she had been molesting her daughter,
Ew,
and
that
she's
is
still
so gross.
she's still behind bars. She probably will be for a very long time.
Yeah, I hope she's there for life.
Something like I must admit I have watched her porn, so something changed between 2014 and 2019. Like she was clearly beginning to use drugs or something because something changed
Yeah.
radically in how she looked, and it wasn't just aging. You know, she always
Yeah.
kind of had like that Latina MILF thing going on because she's tall, she's very wide hipped, so she had like a niche in porn. Um, and in 2014, she was really like making money off that niche for sure. But by 2019, like something had radically changed about like the way her face looked, the way her body looked. Like she was using drugs or something, and because yeah, drugs
Yeah.
don't make you drugs don't make you a pedo. I know drugs don't make you a pedo. I know that. I know that, chat. But like she had gone down some kind of rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to remember what it was that I was gonna bring up, but I can't remember. um, I mean, I can always bring it up at another time, I guess. But
Was it about harm not being the most important thing sometimes?
no, it was something before that, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that's okay. Thank you for doing this with me. It was super informative.
Yeah, no problem.
Um,
Are you coming to the
yeah.
end of it?
Uh, I actually was scrolling in reverse, but yeah, I saw the end of it.
No, no, I meant, are you coming to the end of our talk? Because I think I might.
Oh, I think maybe.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah,
I'm at the end. It's nearly 10 o'clock for me, so I probably
yeah,
have to.
yeah. I think we've talked as much as we can in one sitting about Gamergate, you know. But I learned a lot for sure. So I really appreciate you coming on and telling me everything that you know about it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Of
Yeah.
course, anytime.
And I'll
I
definitely
mean,
have to check out your videos on it too.
oh god, they're so old, man.
Yeah,
There's
but they're good to know.
2014. It's so
It's
bad.
nah, I'm sure it's fine. It's good to know like the context and kind of get into that space and get into that like what the internet was like back then, if you're really trying to get into like understand it. So
Yeah,
definitely want to do that.
pretending that you're in 2014 again.
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much. Yeah. Yeah.
were you
So
online back in 2014?
2014. I think I was a workaholic back in 2014 and I didn't see any friends and I only worked. So yeah, I didn't
you
I there are whole like years of my life where I just spent working myself to the bone and didn't partake in any recreational activities. So I think that was probably back then. So
when did you start YouTubing anyway?
maybe like 2 years ago or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Was it one of those things where you started it up because of the pandemic? Like you had free time now, so
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of one of those things and then it ended up taking off because well, I'd always been streaming, but the streaming really took off when I started doing like going on political panels and things like that and I just kind of kept up with it. Which is weird because I don't think I'm particularly the smartest person in the world. I don't think that my takes on politics are particularly like groundbreaking or anything like that, but people liked what I had to say. So it just kind of took off and I just kept doing it. But yeah, prior to that, I was like complete workaholic. I was like the type of person that I was such a workaholic. I made everybody else in the company like look bad, or it made everybody else that worked with me look bad.
right,
People
right.
fucking hated me for it. So, and I would I stopped hanging out with friends because I was like I don't know. I have a problem. I saw I wouldn't hang out with friends. I didn't do anything recreational. I would just like work, come home and sleep, and then wake up and go work again. So yeah, it was yeah.
Yeah, with me, man, I've always joked that I've consistently almost had a YouTube career because
Mhm.
I've known so many. Like I knew JonTron before he was big, and
Yeah.
that's a whole fucking long story. But like I knew him before he was big. I lost contact. I regained contact through Sargon because Sargon and JonTron are friends, and that was kind of
Yeah.
like a weird. Hey, it's been like 10 fucking years. How have you been, dude? So that was like
Yeah.
a weird situation. Um, there's like a bunch of YouTubers that are pretty big names. We're talking like over 1 million subs for sure that have like private messaged me and have been like, "Hey, yeah, I secretly watch you. Don't tell anyone because I don't want to get canceled, but I watch you and I watch
Wow.
Sargon." It's like, well, that's actually that's cool. That's cool. Um,
Yeah.
and like I had the idea to do some sort of internet content like a year and a half before I started, and we started in 2009, so a
Mhm.
long time ago. Completely different internet back then, completely
Mhm.
different everything back then, and I've always been like just a few months behind every trend. I've always like known people before they got big and then lost contact, and it was like it was hard to like reconnect with them. I lost contact with Sargon for a while. I re-became his friend in like 2017 or something. Um,
Yeah.
I knew Shoe on Head back in the day. Like, just I've always been like on the periphery of people who have blown up, and I've
Mm.
never really blown up myself, if that makes sense. You know, Sargon gave me a shout out, and I got like 30,000 subs from it. That was pretty good. I got another
Wow.
30,000 from Gamergate. That was pretty good. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's just been like a long, slow grind.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of anticipate it's going to be a long, slow grind for me as well. So,
Yep.
um, my
Unless,
YouTube
unless you
channel is
want,
very empty. So.
unless you really want to milk that DGG connection, yeah,
I don't know, like I feel guilty doing it, but like there's not a time that would be more relevant than right now while he's doing the whole anti-Muslim arc, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But you know, I kind of feel guilty. I wish I had like the blatant, I don't know, like um there's some people who are just like really good at just milking it, and I'm just not one of those people. I just feel guilty about it. And I don't know, but right now everything that's happening is like super relevant to the things that I think about in my head. And also, I was doing okay, I talked to Spencer first, okay, before Destiny did, okay? You know, and I don't see him getting the same amount of shit, all right? That's all I'm saying. But
Yeah, that was pretty.
uh
I saw that was pretty bullshit. Like the amount that Mind Waves went after you for that, and then just doesn't say a thing to Destiny. Fuck.
yeah.
I've told
Um
you my opinion on that in private though already.
Yeah, yeah. And then you know, then the you know, obviously the whole anti-Islam arc is like, okay, I just debated some Muslims like a few days ago, and now the whole anti-Islam arc is happening. I'm like, man, everything is so relevant right now, but when I get onto a stream with the dude, like he is so bad at conversation. So, yeah. Um
uh, oh, someone in your chat says it's because Mind Waves wants to kiss Destiny on the lips. Yeah, probably.
yeah.
Doesn't want to lose that DGG connection.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very grateful for the connection, but yeah, it's like I only want to jump onto a stream if I really have something to say, and then most of the time when I have something to say, there's already like 5 people on, so I can't get a word in. And then when I do have something to say and there aren't 5 people on, I come on and I say something, and then that's it. And it's like, okay, I'll
Yeah,
see you
yeah.
later. Yeah.
I
So
fucking hate panels for that reason.
yeah,
Like you never really discuss the idea. You never really drill down. It's everyone like everyone gives their surface level takes, and everyone like go like round robins a bit. Maybe there's some drama where two people fight, but like you don't really discuss an idea. Not really on a panel.
yeah.
It's kind of why I hate them. Like at some point, man. Okay, so I have two videos coming up that you might like, and one of them is the Gramsci video. The other one is, was fascism actually capitalism in decay? Because the answer to that is like 90% no. And
Mm,
leftists love to say that they love to say that, and it's just not true. But like that's just a result of reading and reading and understanding
yeah.
some of these ideas. But I could never find anybody who would actually debate that, right? Like I've heard like Lance from the Surfs say that like 80 times. I don't think he would ever talk to me in his entire life. You know, Xander Hall ducked out of a debate with me. So there's just like part of the reason why I make the videos in the style that I make them is because I've like I've like learned the socialist position on a lot of these things. And it's like, well, I know how to counter this, and I'm never going to talk to them because they fucking hate me. So I'll just make like a long ass video about it, you know?
Yeah.
I'll just do a deep dive and I'll reference like books instead because fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
I think we've like milked this as much as we can.
I think so too. I think so
Yeah.
too.
But it was super fun. We should do this again soon, like in the
Sure.
next few days.
I
Yeah.
mean, you see me in your chat a fair amount, so you know when I'm around. I don't know if you prefer scheduling things or not. Doesn't matter to me. Like if you want to just have like a random hour to talk, I'll pop in for a bit. That's okay with me if
Yeah.
you want. Cuz
I
I'm
like
usually around.
scheduling things cuz I'm
Yeah.
super disorganized, but you know, but yeah, yeah, we'll figure it out, you know. I'm also not against doing things like impromptu as well. So
Mhm.
it's just good for me to schedule things cuz I'll forget otherwise. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well if you actually want my videos,
Yes, I do.
the playlist on my channel is called Indefensible. The first like 10 videos or so are Gamergate related. Past that, it's just like other gaming topics because it's just like as time went on, I started doing other gaming videos and I just put them in the same place because it's all gaming related. It's not like philosophy related. So
I'm trying
Indefensible
to
is the Indefensible
indefensible.
is the
I
playlist.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean the pun is indefensible, but it's indie. Da da da.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like that's my playlist. Just some ancient ass videos on there. Um. Uh. That's right. The fucking where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, the Know Your
Uh,
Meme page on
yeah.
Gamergate on Zoe Quinn on like the principal players. Know Your Meme's really good for like
Mhm.
documenting lots of old lore. They're a great resource. So
Okay.
if you want to see like the explicitly pro Gamergate position, Know Your Meme has
Yeah.
it. They have like their timeline. And I guess otherwise, like try to dig up old internet aristocrat Gamergate
Yeah.
videos. They're gonna be on
Yeah,
like a Jim
definitely.
archive channel somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
his
I
stuff.
don't think I can watch Jim. I don't think I can watch Jim on like on stream. I think it might be he uses a lot of slurs, doesn't he? At least his recent stuff, I know that he uses a lot of slurs, so yeah.
I think he did back then too. Yeah,
Yeah.
but good
Yeah.
resource.
I'd
Good
like to watch
resource.
it. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess unrelated to Gamergate, Croat's realism video. Got to watch that. It's
Mhm.
great. And
Yeah.
I think I recommended to you last time. What if alt hist? He does great videos in the same style of Kraut.
What if alt hist? Okay.
Yeah, he's he's also a conservative, but
Yeah.
he's 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 not biased. Also, he
Yeah.
dumpstered Vosh in a debate. It was fucking hilarious.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'll
uh,
take a look at this. Yeah.
there was Dusty reacted to it where basically Vosh said, "Well, can you describe Simone de Beauvoir?" Her writing. He's like, "Oh yeah, of course." He starts launching into it, and Vosh is like, oh shit," like he, it was
Yeah.
fucking. Do you remember seeing that?
I don't remember seeing that. That's
Okay,
so funny though.
it was like basically Vosh was trying to like out intellect him, and he knew exactly what the writing was, and
Yeah.
Vosh just like chose a random name, and it did not fucking play out well for him.
My god, that sounds so similar to somebody we know. I wonder where President Sunday got his mannerisms from.
Oh fuck! Oh fuck! What? Yeah. What if Altist? He has his problems, but he's a good center right resource when it comes to like history and philosophy.
Okay.
Just remember his bias, but he's still pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to do more reading on like some of these like social issues because I clearly don't have the vocabulary to like vocalize what I'm observing half the time, I feel. But um yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
I
take
kind of
a
feel
look at
that
these.
way sometimes
Yeah.
too. That way.
Yeah. You're way better than I am.
You
You've
think
done
so?
all the reading. Yeah, I think so. You've done
I
all the reading.
yeah, but I stutter and stumble over everything, and I can't like I can talk on a script decently, but I can't do streams. It seems sometimes I'm always just like stuttering and like, what do I mean? Oh fuck.
Yeah, I think you're really great. I for me it's like I don't even have the vocabulary to even like when I'm talking about these things feel like they're kind of theoretical or something or they feel like they're kind of abstract um and I don't have the vocabulary to accurately explain them fully. Like when we were talking about like individualism versus like this multiculturalist like world, and
Hmm.
things like that. Like I don't know, these feel like things that I struggle for words with when I'm trying to describe them, but I don't know, maybe I just don't have enough like words in my vocabulary or something. So
I can sympathize.
yeah.
I feel that way about myself a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Okay, I think that's about it though. So if you
Yeah,
want to talk again, we can talk again. I'm usually around.
definitely.
It's not hard to get a hold of me.
Yeah, let me do some more diving into the Gamergate stuff and then I'll hit you up about like talking again.
Sure,
Um
sure.
yeah, and maybe we can go through like that. I think it's super useful for me like to go through the thing that's slanted against Gamergate since you seem like you're pretty pro Gamergate.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
And Yeah, and then maybe I can do the same thing with like somebody who is anti Gamergate and like go through something that's pro gamer, like a pro Gamergate timeline with somebody who's anti Gamergate. That would be kind of cool.
I mean, you could probably maybe Brianna Wu would do it with you. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how many she would do. You know, I don't know how many like sessions she would do with me. You know,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if that's fun for other people. I know it's fun for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But yeah, I'll be around. It's not hard to figure out where I am. So
cool.
I'll
Yeah.
yeah, I'll see you next time. Okay.
See you next time. Thanks for joining, Dev. Have a
Yeah, no
great night.
problem. See ya.
Yeah. Bye.
And the
I'm
whole
gonna be real
virtual
with you, SFO. I looked up Moldbug and and I was like, bro, some of the stuff that this dude is saying is a little bit based.